Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexiot's here, and it's Tuesday, and the Raptors lost in a rout to the Phoenix Suns last night in Phoenix. It was disappointing in some ways, but also expected. And also, more importantly, we had a fantastic game for the 905 last night where they won by 1 point in an epic game that had everything in it. I'm telling you right now, that 905 game last night was something to be seen. It had everything. It had fights, ejections, half court shots, and winning the game on 3 straight made free throws. It was so good. And the 905 was in trouble to foul all their team out. It's just like have nobody playing. It really was the bottom of the barrel, and they did it. They broke their 10-game losing streak and won last night against Windy City Bulls by 1 point. And they even managed to do it in regulation without the Elam ending, bumping into the Raptors start time in Phoenix. They got done right in time so that you could go right into the Phoenix Suns game with the Raptors last night, which was very much the opposite of the 905 game. So we're going to react to both games. I'll go over the players in both games, and we'll do the regular Raptor Freak reaction channel chat. Yeah, and tomorrow we got a Wow Wednesday, guys, because we got a couple of days off, and I want to do something special tomorrow for the Toronto Tempo. So we're going to have a Toronto Tempo-centric stream tomorrow on Wow Wednesday. So, yeah, because we got a little break, and in some ways I want to show some love and attention to the WNBA team coming to Toronto tomorrow morning. So yeah, all right, let's see what y'all are saying. We'll go right in the comments to react to the games last night. We'll start with Trevor J, the words of wisdom from our Commissioner of Fun, Trevor J. And people wonder, why do you call him the Commissioner of Fun, Lex? Because he sent me this box full of classic basketball cards, and I use them on my show for fun. And Trevor has commissioned them, and that's why he's the Commissioner of Fun, because he brings fun into the channel in all kinds of ways. We love you, Trevor. Let's see what he's saying this morning. Today, spend more time with people who bring out the best in you and not bring out the stress in you. There you go. I like that. It's true. There is all kinds of energies around us that we do not perceive completely. There's 5 senses in the body that we can talk about, but there's a 6th sense and the 7th sense and an 8th sense. And sometimes it's on a mitochondria level, where there may be microorganisms on your body that intermingle with microorganisms on another person's body, and they don't necessarily get along. Well, vibes, feelings, go by it. Some people call it intuition, but I think there's biological reasoning for maybe intuition sometimes on paranormal levels of sense that you may not be totally in tune with, and we do not totally understand as human beings in science yet. How about that? But yeah, if you're around somebody, they bring the stress out of you, well, they might be not your right person, and you got to find that person that's going to bring the best out in you. Thank you, Trevor J, for your words of wisdom. Very, very cool. He's also saying that Nafisa Collier has won the first ever unrivaled most valuable player of the year award. Interesting. So that secondary league, that 3-on-3 league, had quite a season. All right. Well, I'm glad that the women of the WNBA have a place to play in the offseason that isn't Russia to make some money. That's great. And I hope the Unrivaled League does very, very well. But also, I'm rooting for the WNBA on a higher level and scale to really, really increase revenue and get even more successful. I think it's on its way. Trevor's saying that they're saying that the Raptors are very good at tanking. I don't know if that's true. Our record this month is 6-2. And I knew that we'd have a winning record in March because the schedule's just too damn easy. But, some of these games recently, I would say that Philadelphia is better at tanking than us right now, especially after the performance of what they did last night against the Rockets. That's amazing how Philadelphia managed to fumble that game last night. That was masterclass tanking with the Sixers and Nick Nurse. And poor Freddie. Freddie gets thrown out at the end of the game for the Rockets. We love you, Fred. I stand with Fred VanVleet. Always great Raptor, one of my groats. If you ask me what my Mount Rushmore of Raptors are, it's Kyle DeMar, Pascal and Fred. That's my Mount Rushmore for greatest Raptors of all time. No Vince, nope. No Kawhi, nope. Those are my four guys right there. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I don't know if we're good at tanking, Trevor. That's a weird statement to make because we've been bad at losing right now. We've been winning. Now, Trevor, you obviously did not watch the show yesterday because I scouted 7-foot Bangkok Doc yesterday on the channel. I did it yesterday. I actually just scouted this guy yesterday. I guess he's making some noise in the tournament or something. Your guys are bringing his name to me, different ones of y'all. But I scouted Bangkok Doc yesterday, and my assumptions were that he is very much like a Chris Boucher body type, like a Mohamedou Gay, and he's a very good shot blocker, but he has no weight. He has no presence in the paint, and he's going to get pushed around all over the place. And if we're going to have a player like that, we might as well just keep Chris. So I was a thumbs down on Bangkok Doc. Sorry, guy. Yeah, you're not watching the whole streams, obviously, Trevor, because that was a segment yesterday that we went over him already. Trevor's saying that 905 finally won. 5'10 Evan Gilliard had 34 points, former tryout player. Yeah. Well, all the players on the 905 right now are the bottom of the barrel. I'm not lying. Seriously, we actually had Blake Murphy in the chat with us last night, talking directly to us. Thank you, Blake. Blake, you are awesome. I have so much appreciation for you and your timely updates on transactions and injuries for the Raptors and the Raptors 905. And, well, it's a real pleasure to have Blake with us in the 905 live chat for YouTube games because he can answer the questions directly. And he explained this stuff to us last night, actually, about how the Raptors 905 get their players like Loudon Love and Lacey James and DJ Jeffries recently, that there's a player pool. And much like a video game where you play a video game, you have rosters. Well, there's always like a free agency pool on the side where you might need to put players in for injury or something like that. And often those players are scrubs. They're people that have been out of the league or they got very low rankings. Like their stats are very bad. And it's like adding them to your team ain't going to help. Well, that's kind of like what the G League player pool is. When you don't have players enough, you got to go dig into that. Well, it's kind of like that effect on the video game, if you know what I'm talking about, if you play those video games. So Loudon Love, Lacey James, DJ Jeffries is the best of the best in there. As Blake said, there's nobody in the player pool that's over 7 foot. And we got the absolute biggest talented guys that were available at this time. Unfortunately, they're around 6'7" and 260 pounds. So it is what it is. And that's all we could get. That's what Luke Wynn's arms are tied. He can only get the best that he can get in this situation, and that's what he tried to do. And these guys aren't that good. Let's just put it that way. They're not that good because even though Loudon Love's up and playing for the 905, he ain't playing that much because he's going out there, he's stinking it up, and Andrew Jones got to pull him off the court almost immediately. Now, Lacey James has been playing better and better. He had a pretty good game last night, and we did see the debut of DJ Jeffries last night. And honestly, I like DJ Jeffries. He reminds me of some guys that I used to run basketball with when I was younger down in Florida. He kind of plays like street baller. Seriously, he's all over the place. He's active. And in some ways, he's not totally refined. But DJ Jeffries has very long arms, and he's active. So that's actually valuable in a lot of ways. You know what? Since you brought it up, Trevor, let's go ahead and do the stars of the game for the 905 first before the Suns game. Because honestly, they had a more interesting, fun game than the Suns game was for us. Honestly, the Suns game was painful at times and annoying. The huge lead just building and building. But that's what happens when you have a Hall of Famer like Kevin Durant and one of the best young offensive players in the league, Devin Booker, taking your team apart when your team ain't its normal self. That's all it is right there. So let's go to the 905 game, and let's talk about the stars of the game for that one first. Number one star of the game is the man who won the game for them, Timbit. This is so funny, man. Like, this is why, in some ways, this is why we do sports. This is for people like Tyler Perry last night. Tyler Perry is a little guy. He's like 5'10", and he's barely in the G League, honestly. This guy, in some ways, he's lucky he's in the G League. Forget about in the NBA. And, well, he had one of his moments, maybe the best moment of his life last night, because he got the opportunity to win a basketball game solely on his own, and he did it. He was so successful. Tyler Perry made like 5 important free throws at the end of the 905 game that were absolutely essential for them to win the game. He had to make all 5 of them. He couldn't have missed one single of those 5 free throws. He made every single one. And you know what he said after the game? And this is so awesome. I have shot 10,000s of free throws over and over again. And I just had to zone in and go by what I've already done and get in the groove of confidence of I put in the work, I deserve this, and I'm going to make these. And every single one of his free throws that he shot at the end of the game last night were perfect. And they went right through the hoop. They were picture perfect and identical to each other. That's so awesome. He had to hit 3 free throws in a row because this is the crazy thing. The 905 were losing, and Windy City made a shot, and it's Javon Freeman Liberty, of course, come crazy, a revenge game against us. He puts them up by 1, and Tyler Perry's coming over across half court, and Javon Freeman Liberty makes a huge mistake and fouls him, and Tyler Perry has a wherewithal to jack the ball up towards the hoop. He just heaves it, chucks it. And, well, the ref said he was taking a shot, a 3. So he got 3 free throws, and they were only down by 1. I mean, actually, they were down by 2. They were down by 2. So he had to make all 3 of them to win by 1. 2 to tie and 3 to win. And, well, he got up there, ice water in his veins, and he sunk all 3 of them in a row. And there were some people in the Paramount 5 Food Center yelling, brick. It may have been coming from the Windy City Bulls bench. But, yeah, Tyler Perry, ice cold blood in his veins, just putting those free throws through confidently and easily, and he was the hero. And after the game, they came and dumped him with water when he's getting interviewed by Lindsey Dunn. And it's just awesome. One of those feel-good moments. I don't know what level of basketball Tyler Perry will ever get to. Maybe he'll go to Europe and he'll play for a European team and win European championships and get accolades there. But this may be the pinnacle of his whole entire basketball career last night. Winning a game for the 905 on 3 made free throws right in a row. He made the last 5 points for us at the free throw line, guys. He made 5 straight free throws at the end to help us win that game. And we needed to win, honestly. The 905 had lost 10 games in a row, which is their record for their team franchise, which is ugly. And we don't need to be making that record even better or worse. You know what I'm saying? With 10, 11, 12, 13 losses in a row. So it's good that they broke that streak. Now, they may not win another game for the rest of the season. This may be their championship. This may be their pinnacle for their season. Because Windy City Bulls are the worst team in the Eastern Conference in the G League. They have a worse record than the 905. And the rest of the teams are going to play out are bigger and more talented and probably going to kick our ass. So, Tyler Perry, salute to you. Number 1 star of the game by far. Huge, huge, huge what you did out there. In fact, let me go over your whole stat line. Tyler came off the bench in 30 minutes. He only shot 2 of 9 from the field, including 2 of 8 from 3. So he made 2 threes, but he was 12 of 12 at the free throw line. Did not miss a single free throw the whole entire game. 12 of 12, including those 5 very, very important and 3 very, very important right at the end of the game to win it. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, 3 turnovers, a plus 13, 25 points for Tyler with the free throws. Because, those 12 free throws, some of those free throws are not worth 1 point. Some of them are worth 2 points. Some of them are worth 3 points. But he got 25 points on only 2 made shots. It's kind of amazing, honestly. So, Tyler Perry, that's a game of your life, bro. Savor it. Cherish it forever. You're a hero. And I'm never going to forget the Tyler Perry free throw game against the Windy City Bulls and Javon Freeman Liberty, man. You're a hero, Timbit. You really are, man. Savor this moment forever. You deserve that game ball. The second star of the game is the person that Trevor has mentioned, Evan Gilliard. 5'10", Evan Gilliard went out there, and he laid down 34 points. He was hooping, man. And he got hurt in the middle of the game, too. And it was dubious whether he was going to be able to return to the game because he got hurt pretty bad. But he did return to the game, and he had a fantastic one. 36 minutes, 34 points, 10 of 19 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, 8 of 9 at the free throw line. In fact, that was a huge part of why the 905 won this game. Normally, they're like a 60 to 70% free throw shooting team, which is absolutely dreadful. But they shot 91% at the free throw line last night. So it was very, very crucial for them to win. 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers, a plus 11, 34 points for Evan Gilliard. Fantastic. My third star of the game yesterday was Quincy Guerriere. The Canadian went crazy. Our man from Montreal, 40 minutes for Quincy, 6 of 12 from the field, 1 of 5 at the 3-point line, 4 of 4 at the free throw line. So he made all 4 of his free throws. 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 4 turnovers, though, a plus 3 with 20 points for Quincy Guerriere. Yeah, he's just 1 rebound shy of another double-double. Quincy was very active. Quincy, in some ways, is playing center for us right now because we don't have a true center, and he's having to do a lot of that rim protection, getting the rebounds kind of stuff right now. So good job, Quincy. We're proud of you, man. Proud of you, Canadian. That's right. Charlie Brown Jr. is my 4th star of the game. Charlie Brown is active. I told the chat last night, it was like Charlie Brown has gone on a journey this season to where I love him now. Like Charlie Brown, I did not like him in the original Showcase Cup part of this season, but now I really like Charlie Brown. He's showing such unselfishness. He shows a real ball hawk nose to steal the ball, and he's a very valuable player with his length and his activity. So Charlie Brown, 19 points last night on 3 of 6 shooting, 1 of 3 from the 3-point range, 6 of 6 at the free throw line, though. Another perfect guy at the free throw line. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks, 1 turnover, a plus 1. Charlie Brown contributing majorly to help them win. In fact, him and Quincy look like little twin towers out there. Just as much as Charlie Brown has gone on a journey with me personally, as far as a player I respect at this point. I did not respect him in the beginning of the year. Tyler Perry's gone on a journey too, because Tyler Perry has been at the end of the bench, barely playing. It's the 3rd or 4th point guard on our roster for 905. And he has just been waiting for his time. And well, his time was last night. And he went on a journey this year too, from not playing many games at all when everybody's there and healthy to playing very important last night. So I'm really proud of him. 5th star of the game for the game last night is Lacey James. I'm going to give some shine to Lacey James, who got the start. He started to play well enough to not foul out right away, but he did still foul out last night. 29 minutes, though, before he did. 3 of 4 from the field, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover. Fouled out, plus 10 with 6 points. Yeah, it's not a huge, great stat line, but Lacey was active. Lacey was just out there trying to do stuff to throw his weight around and help the 905 win. So there you go. There's your 5 stars of the game. Eugenio Marui got thrown out of the game last night. Halfway through the game, he got into it with Windy City. It was a very physical game. There were quite a few players that were bleeding because people were getting hit in the face. Javon Freeman Liberty had to have a little tissue up his nostril because his nose was gushing blood at one point. They kept having to take stops in this 905 game to wipe up the blood on the court. No lie. And well, very physical. The referees were not calling a lot of stuff, and Gino was doing what he does. And in some ways, Gino went a little too crazy, and they got in a fight, and they had to toss him and a couple of the Windy City Bulls players also out of the game. And after the game, Tyler Perry and Evan Gilliard said that they had to win this one for Gino. So it's true. When players get thrown out, sometimes their teammates will rise up and come back and try and win the game in their honor. And I was saying that in the chat. I was joking around with Monique and Fiercey and Blake Murphy. I was saying, oh, we should win this one for Gino. And well, after the game, the players said they did that. It's kind of funny. Tyler's like, yeah, I wanted to win this one for Gene. That's right. So Gene, only 19 minutes. He played horrible, in fact, too. He was 1 of 8 from the field. He missed all 4 of his threes. He did make his only free throw. 5 offensive rebounds, 7 altogether, 1 assist, 5 turnovers also for Gene while he was out there. Only 4 points. But in some ways, when we're in a close situation with 905, Eugenio Marui is the best, most capable guy to try and take the basket to the hoop, the ball to the hoop and make it. In some ways, he's our best defensive rebounder. He's our best this and this, and he's not even available. Yikes. We're in trouble because it's like the most talented guy in this team where we don't have any of our talent anymore is out of the game because he's thrown out. Yeah, it's going to be tough. And then you got a hero like Timbit coming in and making the free throws. That's right. That's right. off the bench, loud and love, 4 minutes. Like I said, this guy couldn't stay out there. 4 minutes. He missed his only shot. He made his only free throw, though, and made 2 points and 2 rebounds. And that's it. He got 1 foul. Tyreek Key, his shot is gone. And honestly, this is the time when Tyreek Key, if he had shown up like he was at the beginning of the season with his 3-point excellence, he would be so helpful right now. But alas, Tyreek Key is in a shooting slump, and he has not been shooting well pretty much since November, honestly, guys. 2 for 7, 1 for 5 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 turnover, 5 fouls, too, for Tyreek with 5 points. There was a real danger that the Raptors 905 were going to foul out too many players and have to forfeit the game because they didn't have enough players to play. Seriously. They're already short-staffed because all these players are coming up like A.J. Lawson and Colin Castleton. But then they got a guy foul out. They get a guy hurt. Another guy gets thrown out. Eugene, you're down to the really like you have 5 guys available and you just got the 5 guys to put on the court. Seriously, is kind of what happened. The other thing was that Kennedy Chandler in this game got put in the doghouse by Andrew Jones. Yeah, Kennedy didn't see the light of day at the end of the game. And honestly, he would have been the easy number to call, 0, to come into the game and try and help them win because he's like that with scoring. But Andrew Jones stood fast to his punishment for Kennedy Chandler and sat him on the bench the whole entire crunch time. I guess he could have been the guy who came in if somebody fouled out. But I guess Kennedy did some stuff he didn't like. He's like, no, you're not going to be a hero in this game. You're going to sit out the end of the game. That could have been an easy decision that could have helped them win easier because Kennedy Chandler is one of the most gifted scorers on the 905. But yeah, he didn't even do that. Kennedy only played 9 minutes. 0 for 3, 0 for 1 from 3, 0 for 1 from free throw, 2 assists for Chandler and 1 steal and 1 turnover. And he was a minus 16 to boot. So he was a big fat goose egg, did not score a point. DJ Jeffries, 14 minutes, took 1 shot, missed it, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 2 fouls. No points for DJ Jeffries, but active and long, like I said. So, yeah, fantastic game by the 905. Tyler Perry, you're a hero, man. Javon Freeman-Liberty had a better game than his triple-double the other day. 9 of 17 shooting, which is much better. 5 of 8 from 3, 4 of 6 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 4 turnovers, 29 points for Javon Freeman-Liberty on the other side in 39 minutes. Also, Emmanuel Miller, the older brother of Leonard Miller, a standout from Scarborough. 7 of 15 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 3 of 3 at the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 turnovers, 22 points for Emmanuel Miller, who I was commenting last night. I'd like to see Emmanuel Miller come to the 905 next year. Yeah, make it happen, Luke Wynn. Get Leonard Miller's older brother, Emmanuel, on the 905 for next season. He's a really good player, and I think he would love to come back home and play in Canada, seeing he's a Canadian from Scarborough, and he needs to come play in Mississauga, is what I'm saying right now. And he may actually have a path to come up to the Raptors because he's good, man. I really like Emmanuel Miller, and I'm telling you, Luke Wynn, you need to try and get him on your team next year. Seriously. So yeah, there's the box score. Looking at the Raptors 905 heroes of the game last night. That's why I'm wearing the 905 shirt, but I have the purple hat on for the loss for the Raptors last night. So yeah, it was a good game, man. That was really fun, entertaining game to watch. It was kind of humdrum in the middle, but there was enough weird action. Like I said, the Windy City Bulls made a half-court shot at the end of the first quarter, which was insane. It's like Tyreek Key made his only 3, and then somebody gave the ball to this guy, Jameer, and he just jacked up the shot from half court, and it went in. So the fans got a really entertaining game last night in Mississauga. They got a very, very entertaining game. Like I said, blood was spilled, half-court shots, and the home team won at the very end on some very, very pressurized free throw shots by Tyler Perry. Very, very fun. Very, 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 very fun. Fiercey's here. Good to see MJ in the morning. How are you doing, Fiercey? Good morning, fam, and happy Tuesday. I saw a few comments from Suns fans unhappy with the win as we clearly sat out players to lose. Others say it doesn't mean anything against a tanking team. Yeah, this is a mindset. You know, if Suns fans want to be negative ninnies and Debbie Downers, this is the right mindset for them. And they're right. This perception can be valid and totally true. That, yeah, you guys shouldn't feel good about routing the Raptors last night by 40, Phoenix. because y'all have been a dumpster fire all year. You're overall a disappointment, the biggest disappointment in the Western Conference, honestly. And okay, feel real good about beating up on a team that had their end of their bench playing and sat a whole bunch of very important players. Yeah, go ahead and feel good about it. You can be that way, or you could be like a positive Suns fan and say, "I'm just so glad we won a game again." Seriously, in some ways, if it really is the difference between having a negative mindset and a positive mindset. How you want to look at what happened last night. I mean, the Suns just routed us by 40. These people can't be happy and they're still complaining and they're living like that, man. They're miserable fucks. I would not want to be these people. If they can't have a little bit of enjoyment from seeing their team finally win against a team like the Raptors. Now, part of it is that the Suns were really mad after the Lakers game on Sunday. That game was close, and the Lakers just happened to beat them barely. So they had a little gumption to come out and play better, and that was part of the problem. Also, the back-to-back was an issue for the Raptors. They were tired. They didn't look exactly as energetic as usual. And, like the broadcast said, Jack and Matt, every season there's a handful of games that are always going to be duds for a team. Every NBA team has them. Even the very best, like Cleveland, they may have one game the whole entire season where they absolutely can't go right on anything. Well, the Raptors had one of those games yesterday on the down low, along with all the other factors. None of these bunny shots or close shots were going in. And there was a lot of stuff that normally the Raptors would do well that wasn't happening well. Some of it I chalk it up to is that the Raptors had a lot of guys near the basket taking shots that they shouldn't have been taking. And some of it was around Castleton. Some of it was around Mobo. Some of it was around Robinson. And in some ways, we weren't finding the right shot selection. Some of these guys, like Jonathan, in some ways was taking way too many shots that were poor. And it's reflected in his box score. It really is. And in some ways, Castleton has an experience that is still shining through in different ways, whether it's some stuff on defense and not coming out to guard three-point shooters like he has to. I mean, that's Devin Booker, bro. You need to respect him and go out there to him. Or it's also just fumbling the ball in the lane because he's not totally confident and holding the ball with contact coming at him from all directions. So there's a couple of different things there that were really showing their ugliness. After the game, both Emmanuel and Darko talked about how in the second quarter, the Suns started doing a 1-5 switch. And it was something that the young core of the Raptors that we had on the court last night was not familiar with and absolutely got ran around in circles by. That the switching that they were doing on their defense was so effective that it blew up the game and made a huge, huge deficit for us. And that was why we couldn't score in the second quarter at all, because they really did a really masterful defensive switch that was absolutely effective in messing us up. The first quarter, we hung with them, played very well. It was tied at the end of the first quarter, I believe, right around tied, yeah. But the second quarter, the adjustment by Budenholzer to a switching 1-5 absolutely was the winner of the game. And that Darko said after the game that they're going to watch the tape on this and learn from it. And Emmanuel is like kind of mad at the reporter. They're saying, you're going to wash this game away and move on to the next one. Emmanuel said, no, we need to watch this game. We need to get the tape. We need to learn from it no matter what. We do not just push this game out of our heads. We need to go and look at it and learn from it and understand what the 1-5 switching was happening and what we can do better when we see it again. And that's just how it is. Darko was upbeat. He wasn't upset that we lost. I mean, it was a 40-point defeat. And in some ways, it's like, you know what? This is what was supposed to happen. It's kind of the feeling that was going on with the coach. So it is what it is. Phoenix fans, if you don't want to feel good about beating us by 40, that's your own damn fault. You can feel good about it. Why not? You haven't had many things to feel good about. So why not allow yourself just a little bit to feel good about, Suns fan? I'm trying to be nice, benevolent. I'm trying to be nice, Phoenix fans who come in here and want to watch me and see what a Raptor reaction is to things. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the W's when you get them. Come on now. Don't be so mean to yourself. Seriously. All right, let's see. MJ's also saying Suns have no chance of making it to playoffs anyways. That's not true. Something is off. Well, their defense is off, laugh out loud. And they play better without KD and Beal, actually. That is true. That last part is very, very true. But the first part that you said is absolutely not true. They are going to get in the play-in. Dallas Mavericks have such serious injuries at this point between Kyrie and Anthony Davis that they are sunk. They are in the 10th spot in the Western Conference, and they are sinking fast. And well, Phoenix is playing okay. Like last night, they actually played very well. They were very good with that 1 through 5 switch, and they were making their threes. And we got to remember they have a supreme talent on this team in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Now, I agree with what you're saying. Bradley Beal not even showing up is part of the reason why they won. Bradley Beal comes out and he plays for them, they lose. So it's almost like, you know what? Y'all can pay this guy 110 million or something for the next 2 years, but maybe you should just not ever play him. Just pay him money and let him sit there, because if he comes in the game, he's going to help you lose. The other thing is, in the second quarter, when the Suns did so well, Kevin Durant wasn't out there. And it was in some ways very evident that the team works harder when he's not on the court. So this is true. They are better without Devin and Kevin. I mean, not Devin, Kevin and Bradley. They are better without those two guys. It's absolutely true. That's what I'm saying. Like, Kevin Durant is a weird player at this point. In some ways, he is such a talent. He's so attractive to play and be like, oh, he's so good, but he does hurt you. He does hurt you. And in some ways, that's what I'm saying. The Suns may be better moving on from those two guys and just going forward with Devin Booker, because Devin Booker still plays good enough in certain ways. Now, the Suns will overtake the Dallas Mavericks and get into play and watch. They'll be in the play-in at the bottom. And, well, if they make the playoffs, that's another whole other question. But they do have a chance to make the playoffs if they can get through the play-in, and that means 2 play-in wins, because they're not going to go higher in the play-in. But they will get in the play-in over Dallas. Dallas is going to fall out and be in the bottom 5 of the Western Conference. Mark my bet on that right now. That's right. Fiercely saying 8 straight losses for the Miami Heat. Their streak continues. Well, it's sad because in some ways they were in a bad place with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler had to leave, and he was holding them hostage in some ways. And, well, they made the trade, and they are worse for it. They really, really are. It's too bad. It's too bad. It's sad. In some ways, Andrew Wiggins isn't the kind of player that's going to come in and fill in the stuff that Jimmy was doing in some ways. And, well, Golden State is rolling now. We're going to see them the next game. And I'm all right, like, saying that we're going to lose to Golden State in the game, but that's partly because we're going to try to. You know, I know Monique's mad at me because I'm already predicting that we'll lose to the Warriors on Thursday, but I just feel like that's just smart prognosticating. That it's like, yeah, we can see we're trying not to win. The Warriors on a roll with Jimmy Butler on their team all of a sudden. Yeah, and they're at home. And in some ways, they're still playing to win. They're not trying to tank like Philadelphia and Utah. So it makes total sense that we'll lose the game against the Warriors also. And it's not a big deal, honestly, because we're getting the development time for people like Shed, Castleton, Lawson, and Robinson. And that's really what's most important at this point right now. And also some time to get IQ and Scotty running together so we see cool plays between the two of them and their synergy. Also, that's important too for stuff like that. But yeah, I feel bad for Miami Heat, but I don't. I really don't. In some ways, you know, the Miami Heat have had a nice long run with Eric Spoelstra of excellence and just doing way more with what they have, getting so much out of what they have with all their undrafted players and stuff. At some point, their franchise needed to hit a moment where they need to kind of restart and rebuild again. And I think Jimmy Butler forcing his way out of there is kind of signifying it right now. Because I don't know if Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero and a core built around them is good enough to be at the top of the NBA. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't think it is. I do not think it is. Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex and crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully you're having a nice, awesome post-St. Patrick's Day Tuesday. That's right. Everybody was a little festive last night, wearing the green, and the leprechauns dancing around on the court. And we even had some TikTok from Jack and Matt and Kayla doing a river dance is what they were calling it, river dance or Irish stepping or whatever they were calling it. Yeah, it's pretty goofy, pretty goofy. I like what Kayla calls it, skedaddling. Yeah, they were doing the skedaddle, and I think that's the right term. I think Kayla's right. It's called the skedaddle. So, Jack Armstrong, you're a skedaddler, an Irish skedaddler. Leo Routen's reposting a picture of Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong with their St. Patrick's Day hats on and calling them Irish pimps. Oh, it's so crazy, man. Oh, man. Jack, what do you do on the West Coast? It's so late. Do you get to the bar still in time? I bet you do. I bet you do. It's priority. Fusey saying Trevor J gets the cup. There you go. I love it. I love it. And Fiercey saying good morning to Kaz. I like that too. G saying, I enjoy watching the rookies and undrafted players develop and can't wait until next season when they play their best and at the highest level. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I get it. I understand why Fiercey and Monique have been frustrated in the last two games with the losing because they are just strong competitors. Monique just does not want to see the Raptors ever lose. And when that happens, she gets mad. And like seeing the Raptors be down by so much last night was just pissing her off. And I know a lot of people were like, I can't watch this anymore. I'm leaving. I'm going. I mean, Kareem Thomas gave up on the 905 in the middle of the game for The Bachelor. That's right. He came into the 905 chat and said, hey, guys, I can't watch this anymore. I got to go watch The Bachelor. I'm like, damn, it must be bad if KT is turning off the 905 game to go watch The Bachelor. What are you doing, KT? Well, he did the wrong choice because that 905 game was badass by the end of it. Gee, I love you, man. You're awesome. And I'm enjoying seeing the young guys develop too. It's been up and down, though. And I have to say, last night, the guys had kind of a down game in general. Everybody. I mean, I'll look at the box score real quick. We can do the stars of the game real fast for the 905, the Raptors and the Suns. And honestly, I look at it and I see Jamison Battle, 5 for 14. Jonathan Mobo, 1 for 7. Ugh. Scotty Barnes, 5 for 13. Emmanuel Quickly, 5 for 14. So we got 3 of the starters shooting 5 for 14, basically. And that's horrible shooting. And then you got Garrett Temple and Jamal Shed off the bench. 1 for 6 for Garrett, 1 for 8 for Jamal. Nobody hitting no shots for the Raptors last night. Cold. Not doing that, nothing. And the Suns, meanwhile, very scorching from 3, shooting over 50% from 3 last night. And that's a big difference right there. The Suns shot 20 of 39, 51% from 3. And that was absolutely the thing that killed us. Meanwhile, we only shot 29% from 3 and made half the threes that they made with only 10 made free threes. So it was just a tough sledding. Just tough game. Raptors were cold. Raptors were tired. Raptors were discombobulated and not adjusting to the 1 through 5 switching of the Phoenix Suns implemented in the second quarter. And that's a disaster. That's a rout. It happens. That's right. And it only got worse as the game went on. Only 11 points in the second quarter. Meanwhile, they scored 39 points in the second quarter. My star of the game for the Raptors, alas. And Monique said no stars for the game, and I kind of agree with her. But in some ways, I'm making 3 stars just for content, for being on the channel and having something to talk about in these 2 hours I do on the show. So my number 1 star of the game for the Raptors last night is Orlando Robinson. Orlando managed to shoot 50% on volume out of all the Raptors. I just said their shooting percentages and how bad they were. He shot 6 for 12. He had 8 rebounds, including half of them being offensive, 3 assists, and no turnovers. But he was still a minus 21. And as Jack said last night, sometimes that just has to do with the bad team you're on out there with but 12 points for Orlando on 50% shooting with 8 rebounds. That's my best stat line for the night last night. So Orlando, good job. In some ways, you weren't pretty at times, but you were doing a lot of good physical and rebounding stuff for us. And you know what? Kudos to you, man, for being out there and trying to fight. Then my second star of the game is AJ Lawson. AJ Lawson, also off the bench, shot decently. He was 4 for 9, which is not horrible. He didn't have the volume that he's had in recent games, but 4 for 9, 2 for 5 from 3, made both his free throws, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, a minus 32 with 1 turnover, 12 points for AJ Lawson. One of the problems is none of the Raptors scored 20 points yesterday. We had nobody taking over and kind of being a strong leader in the points category. And that, in some ways, that falls on Scotty and Emmanuel the most. But, in some ways, it is what it is. We did have 6 guys in double digits, but nobody managed to break the 20-point barrier. And if the other team's going to score 129 points, that's a problem. You're going to need some points production from somebody, and somebody needs to get 20 points. Scotty Barnes and them talking about how, when a team scores 129 points on them, it's a fail. Because Darko does really keep track of the total points the other team scores on us, and that's how he keeps track of our defense. So the Suns got out of control with scoring way too much last night, and there's going to be extensive tape on how the defense should have been better to contain the Phoenix Suns yesterday. There's going to be extensive tape. My third star of the game is Colin Castleton. So I'm going to go ahead and give some shine to the young players that are out there in an uncomfortable position who just were managing to try and do what they could in that situation. Castleton, 30 minutes, 3 of 4 from the field, 4 of 6 at the free throw line, 4 offensive rebounds with 6 rebounds altogether, 2 blocks also for Colin, 2 turnovers, a minus 28 with only 10 points in 30 minutes. Yeah, it's just not a big enough production, but at least those 3 young guys, those guys that were 905ers, Orlando Robinson, AJ Lawson, and Colin Castleton, we went out there and wore the Raptors jerseys and fought like past Raptors teams in the 30-year history, maybe undermatched in talent, but they went out there and gave it their damn best, just like a Jamario Moon or a Pops Mensah Bonsu would have done in the past. That's what I'm saying. You can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with that. Now, if I have any kind of honorable mention, I'm going to give an honorable mention to, I guess I'll give it to Jamison Battle. You know, he was shooting a lot of threes last night. He took 12 threes, and they asked Darko after the game, did you want Jamison to shoot 73s? And he's like, of course, that's what he does. We need him to do what he does. He's our three-point shooter. So I don't know why the press is asking him, did you want Jamison Battle to shoot 12 three-point attempts? That's kind of a dumb question. Of course he wanted him to shoot 12 three-point attempts. He's been wanting him to shoot all those attempts this whole year. It's just he hadn't gotten the chances to, and he finally did last night. So Jamison, 5 of 14 overall, 4 of 12 at the three-point line, which isn't absolutely horrible, but in some ways he could have had a better percentage last night. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, minus 17 with 14 points. In some ways, this is the kind of game, because when we played Phoenix and Toronto, Grady Dick blew up. Because in some ways, they don't get to the three-point shooters right, the Suns' defense. And then this is the kind of game where a Battle or a Dick can just go crazy and score a lot of points. And in some ways, Jamison could have been the leading scorer last night if a couple more of his threes had gone down. Jonathan Mobo was a disaster. I don't know if I totally agreed with starting the 3 Florida boys last night, because that's what they did. They had that Palm Beach County in full effect with Pembroke Pines and the Palm Beach boys and Scotty and Jonathan and Colin starting, those Florida boys. And then we had 2 masked men in the starting lineup too, between Jonathan and Jamison with their broken noses. So in some ways, I didn't like Jonathan starting last night. In some ways, him being back, he should have had maybe a bench coming off the bench game first before from being out for so long. It's not like Oshai. Oshai can come back in and be plugged in the starting lineup and do what he did. But Jonathan, he was really ugly on the court last night. 1 of 7 from the field. 6 rebounds, though. 2 assists, minus 12 with only 2 points. He fumbled around. And, you know, when Scott wasn't guarding Kevin Durant, he was guarding Kevin Durant with mixed results. I don't know. In some ways, I feel like J-Mo wasn't ready to start last night. He maybe needed to come off the bench in his first game back from injury. And I was shocked, but not totally surprised that Oshai Abaji got a coach's decision, did not play. Because, you know, he played the game before and he started and he had heavy minutes and it's a back-to-back and you don't want to rush a guy back from injury. But I was fully expecting Oshai to be starting in that position that Jonathan started last night. Scotty Barnes had an interesting game. He wasn't his best, but he had his moments. We saw more of Scotty coming down this court and transition like Giannis and attacking the lane and being very effective. Like, they get scared when Scotty's coming. He's so fast and he's so big, and this is what he's doing. I'm telling you, this is going to be more and more what we see in the future is Scott coming quickly down the court, right to the basket and putting it in the basket. And, man, I'm so here for it. But, yeah, a mixed bag. Scotty didn't have the best game, but he wasn't horrible either. In some ways, he was doing some good, powerful stuff. It's just we needed more of it a little more effectively. 5 of 13 for Scotty shooting in 31 minutes, 1 of 2 at 3. He did have a nice 3-point that he made. 5 of 8 at the free throw line. Yeah, he was missing a couple free throws too. 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 turnovers for Scott, and he didn't get a single steal or a block. After getting 6 steals the game before against Portland, Scotty got 0 in this game. Minus 21 with 16 points in 31 minutes. Emmanuel Quickley, a similar kind of game to Scott. It was okay, but not the level we need from these 2 barbecue guys. 5 of 14 for Emmanuel, 2 of 7 from 3, 3 of 4 at the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, minus 21 with 15 points for Manuel. See, 15 points, 16 points for Barnes and Quickly. They're the two main important guys on our team, the leaders. They got to get more points. They got to get more points. I did like some of the shots Emmanuel made last night, though. They were really nice. He stepped into them. But once again, they did not shoot well, Emmanuel and Scotty. Let's see what else. As I said, Garrett Temple was 1 for 6 from the field. He was 1 for 4 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 5 points for Garrett. And Jamal Shed, 1 of 8 and 0 for 5 from 3. So he did not shoot well at all. He made his only free throw. He had 4 assists and 1 turnover with just only 3 points for Jamal. I mean, that's what I'm saying is like development and progress. A lot of it has been 2 steps forward for the Raptors this year and not a step back, but there was a step back last night. And in particularly for rookies like Jamal and Jonathan, and even some of our main leaders like Scotty and Emmanuel. But it is what it is. It is what it is. On the other side of things, we can give a little bit of shine to Devin Booker, the great scorer, 27 points for him, 8 of 15 from the field, 8 of 8 at the free throw line, 6 assists with 4 rebounds, a plus 23. Devin Booker is like that. And Kevin Durant kind of woke up, but not really. He only had 14 points by the end of the game. Very disappointing. The rookie Ryan Dunn really opened my eyes, though. You know, he's been touted as a defensive specialist, and he is a very good defender, but he was showing some very good offensive chops last night, especially making 3 threes with 17 points and 6 rebounds. Yeah, Nick Richards is not very good. He was kind of just out there. And then off the bench, also give some shine to 10-year vet Tyus Jones, who had a big factor out there with 15 points. He made 4 threes, and Monte Morris made 4 of 4 threes also. So we're getting good 3-point shooting overall from their whole entire team and different people in different places. It is what it is. It's a route to the Phoenix Suns. And, well, it's just another one of the 82 that the Raptors go through for the season. That's right. That's right. Kaz is saying Trevor J., he scouted that guy the other day for Slug Deezy. You might have missed it. I did it yesterday. I scouted that guy yesterday. That's right. That's right. Kaz is saying, have you scouted Tomislav Ivičić yet? Yeah, we looked at the Iviciches. They're brothers, right? I think I did look at him before. You really want me to look at him? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to do a scout right this second. I don't think we're going to do. I think in some ways, like I said, when the season's over, I'm going to go heavy and do everybody a scout of the day every single day once the Raptors are not playing regular season games anymore. Because in some ways, listen, I have to spread out my content so that I have enough things to talk about Raptor related. And when they don't play anymore, it gets so hard for me to do this channel every single day. So in some ways, I'm going to save that material for when I'm going to be in that lurch of, wow, what am I going to talk about today? The Raptors are not playing anymore, and there's stuff that's going on, but I want to be like centric towards the Raptors, even if they're not playing. So I think I'm going to wait, but I'm familiar with the Ivicic brothers, and we will probably go in depth on them near the end of the season. Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Cool Cat. Always good to see the coach. Cool Cat, she's saying that 905 emptied for the main team. This is totally right. You know, some people in the Raptors 905 chat last night were saying they were so disappointed with the 905 this season because they're not going to win the G League championship. But I tried to tell them that, honestly, this is exactly their mission. What they did this year is exactly what their mission is, and they were successful at it. And this is what it is, guys. The Raptors 905 mission statement is not win G League championships. The Raptors 905 mission statement is to supply the main team, the Raptors, with talent, developing talent that is used to the system that Darko uses on the big level and utilizes and come up there to help them. And in some ways, the success and the great things happening on the Raptors level is the success of Andrew Jones and the 905's tutelage for this whole entire season to have people like AJ Lawson, Jared Rhoden available and ready to play at this level for Darko. And the other thing that's another signifier of success for the Raptors 905 is how many of their players have been called up and made the big league this year. That's the thing. You could start with Brandon Carlson right at the way, and he counts. But there's been a lot of good call-ups from 905, and they've done their job in supplying Darko with the extra players. So mission accomplished, Andrew Jones. Even if your season fell apart with a 10-game losing streak recently, in some ways, you did exactly what you're supposed to do. Now, I would say this also. I have way more confidence and capability in Andrew Jones and Eric Curry. The last 2 years of 905 with Eric Curry, he did not seem like he knew what he was doing, and he didn't seem like he had the players understanding how to play better. Well, Andrew Jones, I can honestly say, does have that stuff that I did worry about with Eric Curry. He is very, very commanding. They do respect him. He gets results. He gets them playing harder, and he's just a better coach, honestly. So I'm very proud of the job Andrew Jones has done this season, even if the record looks awful. The Showcase Cup was a disaster, and the regular season turned into a disaster after a hot start at 11-4. But it's not his fault. The 905 is a pantry for Darko to come into and take the best snacks and go munch on them on the couch whenever he wants to, because it's for Darko. It's not for a G League championship. So I had to point that out. And part of this was exemplified and explained by Andrew Jones himself, that he posted something on Instagram last week explaining what his missions were in 905, and so that people can understand, no, he's not a failure. In fact, he's a huge success because he had a lot of players go up to the NBA this year. And also, he helped the Raptors immensely with that pipeline of talent coming up at the end of the season. AJ Lawson and what he's doing for the Raptors right now, well, you can thank 905. You can thank 905. So it's a tough thing. And I look forward to Andrew Jones coaching the team again next year. Is that's how they do it. They do 2-year stints. He's had his first year. Well, he's going to come back, and well, maybe we'll see more. But I'm glad they made it more clear. Some teams may have aspirations in the G League to win the G League championship every year and compete in that level in that way. But the 905 are not built for that. And it's now very, very clearly stated that their mission statement isn't necessarily to win the G League championship at all costs, to the detriment of the Toronto Raptors and Darko Rajakovic's team. So that's it right there. Reggie's here. Good to see Reggie. Looks like the Mavs are bringing back Anthony Davis. It's going to be very hard for the Suns to make it, man. I don't think that's true, because honestly, they're only like a half game behind. And Anthony Davis, he's going to play for the Texas Legends. He has to play for the G League team for a bit. I don't think that he's going to be enough to make them win. They need Kyrie to win, and Kyrie's done. And, you got to remember, Anthony Davis just showed up there. He does not have true chemistry with his Mavericks teammates yet because he doesn't have enough reps or time with them. He literally showed up and played with them for like 1 or 2 games and got hurt this time. So I do not believe what you're saying here. The Mavs will fall out of the play-in and the Suns will take their spot. Mark my words. And you guys can put a pin in what I just said, and we'll see who's right in the next couple weeks, because this one's going to come true in the next couple weeks. You're going to see it. Also, I'm going to say this. The Suns were working very well last night. And there were some things that Coach Budenholzer did last night that he may be able to build off of and get momentum from in the next little run of games and play much better. They were way better last night than they were when they came to Toronto when we beat their ass there. So I'm not going to agree with you guys. If you guys think that the Mavs are still going to be in the playoffs, you're crazy. They are not. They're going to fall out. Watch. And that may be partly on purpose, honestly, because the Dallas Mavericks ownership is crazy, and they've destroyed their team in the middle of the season. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free crew. I had to remove my post. Brain thinking of wrong game. I know Phoenix breathes a sigh of relief. They are on their crippled legs. What? Phoenix is actually pretty healthy right now, honestly. I mean, they were missing Grayson Allen and Bradley Beal, but once again, Bradley Beal being out is a plus. Maybe Grayson Allen playing would be good for them, but I'm not going to get with this. The Suns are a very healthy team right now, so I can't agree with this. It's just that once again, Devin Booker is Devin Booker. Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. And they have a pretty good team around them. And once again, the Suns are playing their starters. The Suns are playing their best players, and we are playing our third team, along with 2 of our barbecue, and that's it. So it's a talent matchup where we're overmatched because they have a very talented team. I mean, Bobo just came in at the end, and he had a crazy alley-oop right at the end, but they didn't even play Bobo until the garbage time at the very end. They have a very good team, and they played their best players for most of the game. And that is the big difference right there. So let's keep going. Davis said he wants to play. Okay, he's motivated. Well, I still don't see it, man. I mean, he is a good defensive player and he's good for rebounds, but he can't carry that team as the main guy. And they needed either Kyrie or somebody else like Kyrie to do that. I just don't see it, guys. I think the Mavericks are in a bad place just in their energy, partly because the fans are pissed, partly because that nobody trusts their GM. And in some ways, that kind of stuff can make your team go down also, besides just injuries. It's like Kyrie Irving has to be playing for them to excel. And he's done, man. He's done. Let's see. Reggie's saying it's all but a guarantee that Phoenix is going to trade Kevin in the summer. Timberwolves are the leading suitor as of now. That's an interesting bit of information right there. That is an interesting bit of information right there. Um, Wait, I lost my place. Hang on. I've heard that team, and I've also heard Houston. I don't know why I've heard Houston for Kevin, and that would be a weird shakeup. Like the Rockets getting Kevin Durant, they'd have to send some of their young talent to Phoenix. I think this is true, though. I think that Kevin Durant needs to get traded this summer again, and we will probably see this. They would trade Bradley Beal if they were allowed to, but Bradley Beal is a jerk, and he's going to just be happy and smiling. He's going to wonder why everybody hates him. Like, seriously, like, I don't like Bradley Beal for many years of battling him in the playoffs with the Raptors when he was on Washington. And I've always thought he was overrated. I think that his contract is an absolute joke, and that Phoenix is idiots for taking it off of Washington's hands. Like, they were so stupid to do that. It's kind of like when you have a get together, if you're like couples and there's a booby prize, and at the end of the night, somebody has to take this ugly ass statue home and put it at their house. I feel like that's who Bradley Beal is right now. And then, like, Phoenix fans hate him. They absolutely hate him right now because, in a lot of ways, it's very true. He is singularly the person who's in the way of them competing and doing well because of his parameters, the money, who he is, and how he plays, and the no trade clause, most importantly. Wow. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So crazy. Randolph saying, blessings, beloved Raptors freaks, most informative gang. We are clearly in a period of lawlessness with no regard for human dignity. Let's keep it together and fight the good fight of faith and love. Yeah, there's some really awful shit going on in the States. I will touch on this just for a second. One of the things that the Trump administration is doing right now is they are shutting down anything that they see as DEI. And that means they're trying to whitewash history. Like, they've gone to Arlington Cemetery and they've taken all indicators of contributors to national security and lost their lives in warfare for the United States, of people of color, minorities, women. They're wiping all this stuff because they feel like it's really bad. It's really white supremacy and it's really ugly and it's really messed up. But in some ways, they're showing you exactly who they are. In some ways, it's very, very racist and messed up. And I can't believe it. Like, in some ways, this is the kind of stuff that will get people motivated in the streets to rise up against the tyranny of the Trump administration. Now, thankfully, some of the judges are actually checking him. Like, there is checks and balances in the United States, and some of the judiciary is still holding their place and doing their jobs correctly and pushing back. And thank God. But it's going to take a massive movement of a lot of people to come out there and resist this bullshit. It is really ugly and disgusting. They are tearing people's lives apart, and they are doing really gross, disgusting, evil things that are not for humanity. And the only thing that their God is money. And all they care about is taking money away from social programs that help all people to give to very few people a huge amount of money that they sit on a huge pile. And it's really, really disgusting. At some point, everybody's got to wake up and understand we're all in this together and fight this shit out and get these motherfuckers out of there. In some ways, this is literally exactly like what Hitler did in Germany. He's playing exactly the same plays as far as trying to whitewash and take away history and also subjugate certain populations in very, very, very fucked up, not American ways. There's real Americans in there, in that country, that really do understand what America is supposed to stand up for, and they are embarrassed by what is going on right now. That they are throwing away 200 years of friendship with our country and the rest of the world, allies like Europe, and thumbing their nose to us and being very disrespectful. And people in that country are feeling just like Russians in Russia with Vladimir Putin, was like, this guy does not represent me, and he is messed up. And well, these people need to rise up because freedoms are being taken away. People are being taken to jail just for their views. And freedom of speech is under fire in the United States. It's the most undemocratic, supposedly democratic beacon in the world. Y'all have gone down the tubes, United States, in just less than 2 months of this administration. And it's disgusting and sad. And in some ways, anybody who supports this shit, well, you're on the wrong side of history. And in the long run, you are going to be deemed just like the Nazi party was, and you will be known as that. War criminals are being made right now. And hopefully you will get their day in justice and they will get their sentence. That's what I would say. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families out there. And stay strong and stay connected and stay together because this is a war on all of us. And if you don't think this is going to affect you because you're somebody who looks like me, well, it will at some point. Trust me. Because when they start coming for some people, they're going to start coming for all of us at some point. So we need to resist and stop this. Randolph, I love you, man. And blessings to all the Raptor Freak families, as I said. Cool Cat saying off the meeting, we'll catch up with the rest later. I can't believe they're trying to whitewash things like the Tuskegee Airmen, the Buffalo Soldiers, people that fought and died for the United States. It doesn't matter anymore because they're white supremacist Nazi pieces of shit. And if you stand with MAGA, you're a fucking Nazi, you piece of shit. And if you got mad because I just said that, good. You fucking suck. And you're a piece of shit if you got mad that I just said that. There you go. There you go. Mischief saying you can catch 43 minutes of yesterday's game highlights on YouTube. Second rounder, 19-year-old, 6'11", Bobajo Markovic seems to be the best stretch big available in the draft. Okay. Mischief's always been bringing me diaper dandies. He's like Dick Vitale. He's got some diaper dandies for me to check out. Bogojub Markovic. We did look at him also, I believe. I remember looking at him, but we're going to go refresh when we get closer for sure. Stargate saying, okay, so I'm not going to do another team what other team fans do to the Raptors. Laugh out loud. Suns need to trade both Beal and KD for picks. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And he's saying, I agree with Smooth here. If Davis came back and is even not 80%, it's going to be very difficult for the Suns to overtake the Mavs. See, I don't see this because, guys, they're not that far from each other in the standings. It may have to do with strength of schedule going out, but I'm just saying, like right now, they're only a one game behind them. And in the trend right now, the Mavericks have lost. They're 2 of 8 in their last 10. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Suns are 5 of 5. So they're trending, winning more right now. This is the stuff I look at when I handicap stuff to figure out who's going to win games. And I'm just saying, it's 33 and 36 for the Mavericks and 32 and 37 for the Suns. The Suns are healthier. The Suns could get motivated and get going all of a sudden, and boom, all of a sudden they win. We could go look at their schedules, and I'll go look at exactly what they have in facing them ahead of them right now. And I'll say, like, let's look and see what they got left. Okay, they got the Bulls next. They do have very tough games. They're playing the Cavs, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Timberwolves, the Rockets. They do have a very, very tough schedule, but it's Kevin and Devin, I'm telling you. And those guys could rise up at the way things go. Now, let's go look at Dallas. I'll go look at Dallas's schedule, and it may be that Dallas does have a very easy schedule, and that may be the difference. But I still think that what's going to happen is Phoenix is going to leap over them, even if Davis comes back, guys. Let me see. Let me see who Dallas has. Okay, yeah, Dallas does have an easier schedule to a degree. But they do still have games against Indiana, Detroit, New York, 2 games against the Clippers, and they're also playing the Lakers again still, along with us. They got to play us once at the end of the season, Dallas Mavericks. So, and they play the Grizzlies still. So, I mean, the Suns do have the harder schedule. I will say that, but never underestimate Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on being able to figure out how to get their team going again. Seriously, it could very well be the Suns have been a disappointment all year, but unlike the Sixers, who are hurt very badly right now, they may even out and start playing better all of a sudden at the end of the year. Either way, we're going to take a pin in this, and we're going to realize, all right, RFF is saying the Dallas Mavericks will stay in the playoffs. Raptor Streak is saying Suns are going to take it. All right, we'll remember this, guys. We will remember this. Fiercely saying, yeah, they were down bad. I went to sleep. Yeah, well, I understand that. It's a work night maybe. And it's like, I don't want to stay up past midnight to watch the Raptors lose by 40. I get that. I totally get that, everybody. I do. Somebody's saying Davis is coming back. He's been assigned to G League for conditioning. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Like I said, I'm going to stand on it. Hey, how many games has he played with the Mavericks team and how gelled has he been? And is this the time to really trying to do it and gel it and do it without Kyrie? That's the other thing. Kyrie would make it easier for him to try and gel with the rest of the team. So I'm just saying, I'm just looking at it from my perspective, and I don't see the same thing as you guys. Fiercely saying at some point the broadcast showed field goal percentage. I believe we were at 13%. That might be right. And they were at 62 or 63%. Horrible. Yeah, we just didn't have it. You can chalk it up to a combination of an active defense by them, a young, inexperienced roster of us, a back to back where we're tired. We flew from Portland, Oregon to Phoenix, Arizona in like a very short period of time. That's a long trip. That's not like hopping from Toronto to New York. No, that's a flight across the United States. And it also, I think it does go over time zones too. So they actually lose an hour or something like that. So it's all screwy. There's all kinds of different reasonings and excuses for why the Raptors were flat against the Suns last night. There's all good reasonings why they missed a lot of shots. Yeah. Fiercely saying Davis coming back would represent three defensive bodies from the Suns. Good luck to them. Davis coming back would represent three defensive bodies from the Suns. Good luck from them. I'm not sure what you mean. You saying that Anthony Davis is like the three defensive players for the Mavericks? I don't know. I don't totally understand your comment. Reggie's saying Dallas wants to try and hold on to that play-in spot, it seems. Well, we'll have to see if they get to. We'll have to see. I mean, I get it. They don't want to fall out of the play-in. In some ways, that's a huge disappointment, but we'll see. In some ways, I'm going to stand on my thing. I don't want to argue with it too much. We know where we stand. We're disagreeing. We'll agree to disagree, and we'll just see how it plays out and see who's right. If I'm wrong, I'll come around and say y'all were right. Dallas is still in the play-in. But if I'm right, we'll see if I'm right. That's what I'll say about that. Yeah. Tristan Trey's here. Good to see Tristan. We were having a blast in the YouTube chat last night. Tristan and I, in particular, palling around, talking all through the game. Good fun, Tristan. Always fun to be in there with you. And it was nice having Blake there with us, too. Blake answering all our questions. Tristan saying second among all rookies, 3%, 3-point percentage. That's good stuff. You talking about Jamison Battle? Yeah, Jamison has been one of the better shooters in the rookie class for three. But somebody pointed out on Twitter, or not Twitter, Blue Skies, that he's gotten more volume lately and his efficiency has gone down a little bit because he's getting more shots all of a sudden. Like he was more potent on lower usage, but with more shots increased, well, efficiency can take a suffer. And well, Jameson's been doing pretty good. Randolph saying, Lex, the NBA was ugly last night with so much fighting that resulted in so many ejections. Frustration is boiling over in the games. Yeah, I think that you can attribute some of that to the whistle being very loose, and there's a lot of ugly people hitting people in the faces, and there's a lot of stuff that's just cheap and dirty that shouldn't be happening in the games. And there's a lot of aggression because people are trying to get to playoff spots and wanting to be in a certain place with home court or this or that. And even on the G League, we're seeing a lot of physicality and blood spilled on the court in the 905 game last night. I think this is a symptom of the NBA reverting back to the old school. They're listening to us. And people were saying the last couple of years, I miss the old physical game of the 80s and the 90s, the days of Charles Oakley and Barkley. And, well, Adam Silver told the refs this year, obviously, and Joe Dumars reinforced it, saying, you guys, we're going to have a tighter whistle. We don't want to call too many fouls to stop the game too often, and y'all can allow more physical play on defense. And that's what's happening. But the problem is that it's not totally all adjudicated fairly. And, in some ways, some guys are taking cheap shots. And cheap shots are happening on people, and people are taking offense. And then, stuff like this happens. So I think it is the whistle is just not being whistled as much. And there's more physicality. And this is why this is happening. Reggie's saying if the Suns do make the playoffs, they're going to get swept. They stink. Well, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I'm just saying they'll make the play-in. They'll take that 10th spot, and maybe they'll lose immediately to the 9th spot right away. But I'm just saying, I see this. I don't think the Mavericks are going to hold on to that spot. I think the Suns will somehow, some way get ahead of them, although the records did look better for the Mavericks to stay on top. But who knows? I'm just saying. I'm going to stick with my prediction, and we'll just see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Stargate saying, to be honest, at this point, with only 13 games left, I don't really see how much more development can be done with these individual players. They are what they are at this point. No, I won't agree with that. Every single game, Stargate allows for specific situations to arise and occur. And what the situation last night was a 40-point rout, which is totally different than like close games where you're battling like really close, which we've had recently. But we haven't had a game like this in a while. Darko said that after the game. He's like, I don't think we've had a game where we stunk like this in a while. Probably not since Christmas. Christmas, we had a couple games like this. But every single type of game situation, whether you're ahead by a lot, behind by a lot, ahead by a little, or behind by a little, is all good practice for people like Shed and Mobo to practice being in those kind of situations and closing it out. So I'm gonna disagree. There's all kinds of opportunities in each one of these games that will be presented. Some of them will be more fruitful and worthwhile, and some of them will be like last night. It was just a 40-point route and it looks ugly. And well, you learn from that. There are things they learned from last night. I'm sure they did. Darko's saying this like this is his attitude about the rest of the season is he doesn't take any game for granted. Every single game we get to play is a joy and is an opportunity for him to get his team better. And so his attitude is very much the opposite of what you're saying. Mischief saying Jamison Battle would hit more threes if he didn't have a black mask on. He should wear a clear mask. You can tell his black mask affects his 3-point shooting. Yeah, I noticed right away when he was on G League with the mask, when he first showed back up with the mask, that he did not like it. Every single time there's a break in the action, he's pulling that thing off and just like not wanting to be on. He's twisting and fidgeting it with it all the time. I think he's changed the mask slightly because the first mask he had didn't have very big eye holes. And he really shot bad in that G League game the first time back. But they widened the eye holes so that he could see better. But it's interesting that you think the color of the mask is part of the issue. That if the mask was clear, he'd have better vision. That's very interesting, Mischief. That might be right. I don't know. He's going to be very happy to not have to wear the mask at all soon, I'm sure. And I don't know if J-Mo minds the mask as much, but he probably doesn't like it either. And of course, Matt was talking about how Scotty earlier this season had to wear glasses and a mask briefly, and how much he did not enjoy wearing those either. He really didn't. Stargate saying we can see what players need to work on in the offseason. We can also see who belongs and who doesn't. So it's my belief the Raptors in these 13 games should work more on chemistry with the main guys who are healthy and can play. I like what you're trying to get to with the point of your statement, that you want to just see the full out Raptors play like the top players and play through the whole game and try to play to win. But once again, the understanding is that these guys are trying to think about ping pong balls, even if we're not totally enthusiastic about that as the RFF. But, I mean, I think that still Jamal Shed is going to get so much value out of these last 13 games. If he's playing in all kinds of different situations, it's going to be very valuable to him no matter what. And the other guys too. So, yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying, really? That's happening, Lex? My God. I know about people with U.S. visas being deported. Yeah, there's an attack on everything that's woke in the United States right now. And this is their whole argument is that like they've always thought that everything that was woke, like celebrating diversity or people of color or women or disabled people, they want to wash all that away. In some ways, this is a white man's world that MAGA wants to put out, and they don't want to acknowledge any accomplishments of minorities or anybody in anything. So they're trying to erase the history books. They've gone to Arlington and they've taken away all these displays that were specifically out there celebrating people of color and different people, diverse people that have died and fought for the country at Arlington Cemetery. And they're doing things like they're erasing different, like they're trying to take away funding from historical sites, like historical important sites for Black history and all kinds of other different things like the women's rights movement and gay rights movement. So they're totally trying to dismantle the history of the United States in a woke way because they think that this is all liberal bullshit and they think that it's like not important. And they really are just white supremacist, racist piece of shits. And this is what the Nazis did. They did the same damn thing when they took over Germany. They erased history of Germany, the parts that they didn't like. And well, I'm telling y'all, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And these guys are fucking Nazis. And their white supremacy is out of control right now. And in some ways, people should be taking the streets and getting pissed off because there's a wannabe dictator in the White House right now with a fucking racist ass South African piece of shit who's honestly hurting his home country in many ways also. He took all the US funding for South Africa away, and they are strong arming South African government because it's a black government now, and they don't like that. They want white government in South Africa back because Elon Musk has a personal grudge against certain things that happen in South Africa with apartheid being lifted. Like this Elon Musk is for apartheid, and he wants apartheid to return to South Africa, and they are punishing South Africa for being more equality with black people and white people. It's crazy. It's really disgusting and messed up. And if this shit pisses you off, get activated. Seriously, do what you can in your own sphere of the world. Whether it's, there's people in Canada that are protesting. You want to go join a protest? You want to do something to help? Well, we need to start getting activated because it's not going to happen. We just sit at home and watch TV. We need to start making ourselves mobilized and getting more and more resistance as time goes on, because they are really trying to do some fucked up shit right now. It's crazy. Yeah, the deportation stuff, they're deporting people who have green cards that have gone through the process properly. They're deporting DACA people that have gone through the process, and they're going after people that are pro-Palestine. If you post things online, they're getting a list together and they're witch hunting people that support a free state of Palestine. In fact, I could be in danger for supporting Palestine because there may be a list that was like, oh, Raptor Streak supports Palestine. He's anti-Israeli. Well, there's that stuff going on too right now in the United States. So it's really messed up, guys, in some ways. Yeah. Infamous saying, salute, y'all talking nonsense. How is it Bradley Beal's fault for accepting a contract that it puts him in an advantageous position? Blame the team that traded for him. Don't let them force you to waive it, Beals. I mean, it's obvious that you're on his side, but honestly, it's so selfish. And it's honestly, he's like a block. He's not going to help them win. And in some ways, I get it. He's got it like that. And it's all worked out for him that way. But in some ways, you got the repercussions of it too. Because in some ways, it's a privileged position. There's only two guys in the league that have a no trade clause, and it's him and LeBron. And LeBron rightfully has one. I don't think Bradley Beal should have ever had a no trade clause. I think that it's amazing that he got that negotiated. And you're right. Good for him. But honestly, he should have never, ever had a no trade clause. No trade clause. Crazy for Bradley Beal. Stargate saying, I suspect Kyrie's days are numbered in Dallas. I hope so, because he doesn't deserve to play for that piece of shit owner that he plays for. He is a better man than to play for the Mavericks, honestly. In Dallas, especially if the owner is on some underhanded shit. People don't see Kyrie staying there with those type of people. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say real quick. Is Adelson, the owner of the Mavs, is supporting Israel's genocide of the Palestinian people, and Kyrie Irving is one of the most outspoken supporters of Palestine in the NBA. There's a real conflict of interest here, and that's why I think it's really weird that he's on that team, because in some ways he is helping to generate money for a woman that is absolutely causing genocide. And that's a crazy thing. In some ways, I would think his moral quandary of that is like, yeah, I can't play for the Mavs anymore. I mean, in some ways, it's awful. It's an awful position for him to be in, honestly. Fiercely saying, sorry, Lex, I meant the Suns would need 2 or 3 players to maintain good defensive presence against Davis. I think they should play that rookie more, the one who's defensively skilled. Yeah, they had some good length out on the court last night when they're playing us. Of course, Bobo is something else. The Suns, they may not have a good defensive center, and they do have good defenders. Like Ryan Dunn is really coming along. And the rookie that they have off the bench, what is his name? He had a weird name. He was pretty good too. Iguodaro. He was very interesting. In fact, he was the highest plus minus on the Suns last night with a plus 39. He only scored 9 points, but Osho Iguodaro was a very big factor in the game last night and on the down low. Totally. Yeah, let's see. Fiercely saying, Lex, you skipped 2 comments in between Stargate's comments. Okay, let me see where there's a lot of retracted comments that I'm not totally seeing. Oh, there are 2 of yours? Okay, yeah, because he had 2, and I saw right here. Okay, Fiercely saying, pretty sure KD is gone in the offseason, but do you think Coach Bud will still coach for them next season? I don't know. I mean, Matt was highlighting how he has connections to Phoenix, and that's where he's from. And maybe with Kevin out of there, Coach Bud can stay. I mean, I don't think the Suns are very interested in going into their 4th coach in 4 years. That would be crazy in some ways. You're not doing a very good job picking coaches if you go from Monty Williams to Frank Vogel to Coach Budenholzer to another coach in 4 years. So I think it's likely they'll keep Coach Budenholzer and trade Kevin Durant. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. If Kevin goes to the T Wolves, they'll either trade for Randall as part of the package, or either Randall. I'm not going to speculate on who would get traded for who. It's a waste of time. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Blackhawks saying at current trajectory, the top 3 teams in the East will go on to the second round. Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, there's tiers. I mean, the Cavs are in their own tier in the East, honestly. I think they're even in a different tier than the Celtics. And yeah, Celtics for sure. I don't know about the Knicks though. Are they at the top or is it the Bucks? The Bucks probably. I don't know. Kyle Kuzma, special ingredient. He's making things happen for them. Randolph saying, Lex, you are dead on. Banning the South African president from entering the U.S. is messed up. Defying judges' orders and destroying the Constitution. When are they going to govern the country? Yeah, it's really crazy. They've thrown out the diplomat for South Africa out of the U.S. They've given him till Friday to leave, and if he doesn't leave, they're going to arrest him. And they're saying all kinds of crazy stuff, like that South African government supports terrorism towards white people. And there's all kinds of crazy, messed up things going on. A lot of it is spurned by right wing propaganda about race relations there, and it was horror stories of white farmers being attacked by black farmers and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of material out there that we don't see because we don't look at full bullshit right wing bad information channels. But there are people like our old friend idiot Tada, who do look at that stuff, and they're brainwashed with a whole bunch of stuff that just isn't true. It's misinformation and disinformation. Some of it may be true, but it's one specific case that is not very prevalent, and they really harp on it. Some of it's like stuff like in the United States, they'll say, well, this immigrant from Mexico killed this white woman who was out jogging. And then Trump will expound on that and say, oh, all the immigrants are criminals and they're killing our white women and stuff like that. And then they get the racists in the United States really churned up and upset and crazy about it. Oh my gosh, these immigrants are coming and killing our good people here. They're criminals, which is not true. They can use one specific incident that happened and blow it up and make it sound like it's prevalent. Whereas most people that come to the United States are good people that are just trying to work hard and just have a life. And that's part of the problem. They really use specific cases and blow them up into bigger things. And then they use fear tactics on very soft-headed people like Tada, and they fall for this shit. So it's crazy, it's scary, and it's messed up. And in some ways, there's going to need to be resistance from all around the world. Resistance from us up here in Canada, resistance from the good Americans down south, resistance from the people of Europe, resistance from people in the United States Army, resistance from the judiciary and the judges at every level in the United States also. And in some ways, we need to be smart up here. There's ads on TV right now. They're going to call a federal election at some point, probably before the end of this year in Canada, because Carney is not an elected prime minister, and it's going to be Carney versus Poilievre. And well, the ad that you see on your TV right now is true about Poilievre spouting off the same kind of bullshit that Trump says. Down south, Trump says something, they pull the same statement from Poilievre saying it. So the evidence is there, y'all. Pierre Poilievre is a Trump puppet, and who Elon Musk would love to be in charge of Canada. So we cannot afford to vote PC in a federal election here in Canada. We very much need to vote for the best party other than PC, because Pierre Poilievre is a Trump person. And he will sell us out, and he will sell our country to the United States like Alaska. And I'm telling you, we need to do this right away. We cannot fuck around with this. We cannot have any equality thing where, oh, they're just as bad. The liberals are just as bad as the PC. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. If you believe that crap, you're falling for a line, sink, hook, line, and sinker. Because seriously, there's one party that will keep us away from Trump and his bullshit, and it is the Liberal Party at this point. Unfortunately, yes, they dragged the name liberal through the mud. And some people have paid, billionaires have paid millions of dollars to make you hate the liberals. But I'm going to tell you right now, Mark Carney and the liberals are going to be the thing that save us from the United States in the long run. We cannot afford a Pierre Poilievre prime minister. Seriously, y'all. So, and don't sit at home and not fucking vote. Just like what happened here in Ontario recently with Doug Ford. We cannot afford that. We want to keep Canada strong and free, the true no strong and free. We need to fucking vote, y'all. And don't fuck around with me and not vote. I will be so disappointed in y'all. Seriously. And do not vote for Poilievre. You vote for Poilievre, you're voting for Canadian Trump. And that's just the damn truth of it. Everything they put them together. You see Trump say it, and then Poilievre says the same damn exact thing in that ad. That is the exact truth right there. And remember that they're going to come heavy with attack ads on Mark Carney. They're going to say some outlandish, crazy ass shit about him just to try and sway you to be like, oh, I can't vote for him. Don't fall for that shit. They did that shit to Kamala Harris, and you see the fucking mess that's in the United States right now. So please, as a Canadian to other Canadians watching me right now, we cannot afford to fuck up the next federal election. We've got to fucking vote for our country. And that means not voting for Pierre. Okay? Seriously, we need to keep democracy and freedom here. They may not have it down south, and me may be living next to Russia all of a sudden now, but we need to fucking do what's right here, man. Seriously, man. If you're a proud Canadian and you love Canada and you want Canada to stay Canada, you better listen to me right now. And you better not fucking take what I'm saying and go one ear out the other. You better listen to me and take it to heart, because this is our future we're talking about right here. This is the future for your children. This is the future for your grandchildren. And if you don't fucking take this seriously, well, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Is what I'll say right now. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. We needed to have a little bit of this talk. We hadn't had a lot of politics lately, and I've been holding off on it. But this is stuff that is very, very important. And I feel like I need to say this right now. I really do feel like I need to say this. Yeah. Yeah. Tristan's saying Bradley is being chilling. He's chilling. He's good, man. He's good. Well, don't worry about anything with him. That's right. Don't worry, Lex. Africa will come out ahead without U.S. aid. Adversity is nothing new to Black people. So as through song goes, we shall overcome. I love that sentiment. I hope you're right. But the estimates are very stark and dangerous. You know, my favorite band, more former favorite band, U2, Bono came out and said recently that millions of people are going to die because the United States U.S. aid office has been closed. There's a lot of people in Africa that rely on this aid, and it's humanitarian. It really helps certain people with inoculations and feeding and everything. So Americans are saying, well, we're sick of being the pocketbook for the rest of the world and helping people. Listen, you dumbass motherfuckers. What is happening is there's people that are going to starve over there, and somebody else is going to come and save them. And that someone else is going to be China. And what's going to happen is China's become more like what the U.S. used to be, the world power that's helping out the world and doing good things in diplomacy and looked up to. In some ways, China is going to take that spot right out from the United States. The United States has been something for 200 years, democracy, a beacon of freedom. They're not anymore. And in some ways, a human rights violating country just like the U.S., China is going to step in that spot, and they're going to start funding all the money there. Some of it may be funded by Russia at this point, and that's good publicity and politics for them. So in some ways, the sadness is there may be some people that slip through the cracks and they unnecessarily die because the funding was cut off by Elon Musk and Donald Trump for U.S. aid. But I hope you're right, Neil, that people will persevere and we shall overcome. In fact, listen, the civil rights movement of the United States is a great place to look at the playbook for what we need to do now, all of us. The people that are civil rights warriors from that era in the 50s and 60s, they can show us exactly what we need to do to stand up to Trump and their bullshit that's going on right now. And we need to have courageousness and going out there and doing it and not be apathetic and sitting on our asses, waiting for them to come to our doors for us individually, one by one. We need to get out there all together, and we need to fight for what we know is right in this world, which is equality and freedom. And if we don't do this, man, this is the fight of our lives. This second administration of Trump right now. This is the fight of our lives. And this is unlike anything we've ever faced. And don't poo poo this shit and say, oh, Lex, you're just overreacting. No, this is real shit. This is real shit. And if people aren't taking it seriously, well, we are going to fall into an abyss of fucking dictatorship, oligarchy with fucking billionaires making tons and tons of money. And we're all working class slaves that live in shanties and with no houses and no promise for any future in any of these people. I'm just saying, man, it's crazy. Blackhawks saying Beal and Wall are opportunists. They got what they wanted and have not been true to the game. Yeah. I don't respect that in some ways. Sure, I can hate the game more than the player, but that player really kind of was an opportunist, and he really kind of, it's the Wizards. Once again, the Wizards are one of the worst run organizations, making very, very poor decisions. And you know what? That's a good cautionary tale for teams like our team. Thank God we're not the Wizards, and we're not throwing crazy contracts on John Wall and Bradley Beal like they have in the past 10 years. That's what I'm saying right there. Trevor saying the Mavericks signed AD to the G League. Yeah, I said that. He's on Texas Legends. I said that before you guys even talked about him like this. Seymour saying Conor McGregor in the White House was crazy. What the heck is going on? Well, it's idiocracy. It's idiocracy. And all these idiots that were on Trump's reality show are all supporting him in dumb ways because in some ways they're paid off like kind of celebrities and bullshit. Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, Michael Rappaport, all these idiots that were just on fucking Donald Trump's stupid ass show. And it's all one hand washes the other. I mean, Tesla's stock is dropping. People are burning Teslas. Meanwhile, Trump is taking an opportunity to stand out in front of the White House and buy a Cybertruck from Elon on TV, just to encourage his idiot, mindless MAGA people to go out and buy Tesla while everybody else shuns that shit. In fact, when I drive down the street and I see a Tesla now, I shoot a bird at that motherfucker. One finger salute for you, motherfucker, because you still drive a swastika car. Seriously. One thing I do want to tell y'all also real quick about Teslas that y'all don't know maybe is that they have cameras all around them. They have cameras that can be tapped into by Elon Musk people at Tesla, and they can surveil everybody through them. The cameras shoot everywhere. They're like Google cars that take the mapping. So be wary of this. If you are around any Tesla cars, that you could be filmed secretly in some ways that you may not have understood. And if you're driving a Tesla, you're an idiot because in some ways, some of these people get a self-driving car and they're like, oh, I'm going to get a self-driving car and I'm going to have sex in it. Well, realize there's Tesla workers watching you guys when you're in your car and you don't even know it because they hack into the system and they watch the people that buy their cars. That's the damn truth. It's documented. They got in trouble for this. It's serious. So realize everywhere you see a Tesla vehicle, it's a surveillance vehicle. And it can be utilized by anybody who has access to their system in the Tesla company to watch people. And it also is part of the Big Brother thing. If you commit a crime near a Tesla, they can go into the Tesla and they can look and find evidence against you and charge you with it. So it might as well just be another camera somewhere. So if you're around Teslas, just know that they are utilized in a secondary way this way. And that may have been part of the long-term design that Elon Musk put into them, just to have more power to be able to surveil the population. That's the damn truth. I'm not saying anything crazy right there. Seriously. Let's see. G's saying these games show how valuable RJ is, and there are a group of fans that are undervaluing him. Yeah, RJ would have helped last night. I don't know how much he would have changed the outcome, but he would have helped us score more. That's for sure. He would have gotten 20. I believe he would have gotten 20 last night. All right, let's do the Instagram stories real quick. We got a little sidetracked for a second there. Lloyd is listening to Stevie Wonder, which is awesome. Lloyd is doing good things with his life. Let's see. Jamal Shed's got a fan filming him from the Phoenix crowd and watching Jamal. He had a bad game last night, though. There's Jamal coming in the game next to AJ Lawson. Of course, we see Jamal with his rookie bag, his little pink bag. And Jameson was carrying his too. Jamal's putting Quentin Grimes on blast for his excellence with the 76ers last night. So he's very much a fan of Quentin. I guess that's because maybe they played together in college. Kelly Olynyk is sad for Trey Murphy, who apparently got hurt again is out for the Pelicans. So prayers up, doggy. Bounce back, going to be better than the setback. There you go for Trey Murphy. Lindsey Dunn at the 9:05 game last night. And there was a big controversy during the game last night because Matt Cullen said he wore a green tie to the game. But Lindsey Dunn said, no, that's a blue tie. And they took a poll and they even asked everybody on the broadcast. And Matt Cullen was completely outvoted. It's a blue tie, Matt Cullen. So obviously you have color blindness for blue and green because this is common. A lot of people see blue and green as the same colors and get them mixed up. So don't get upset, Matt Cullen, but know that everybody else saw it and it's blue. You went to work wearing a green tie and you went home wearing a blue one, Matt Cullen. That's just the damn truth. And Lindsey's right. Lindsey's right. Sorry, Lindsey's right. And there's Lindsey interviewing Timbit, Tyler Perry, after his epic 3 free throws makes at the end of the game. Good job, Tyler Perry. You're a badass. And there he is getting the water dumped on him by Charlie Brown. There you go. There's Eugene Omoruyi styling off the court. But yeah, he was off the court because he got thrown out. There's those Irish pimps that Leo Routins was talking about, Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong, celebrating the St. Patrick's Day with Kayla Gray, doing a little TikTok dance, as is customary for them now, doing a little step, river dance, skedaddle. There you go. There you go, Jack. And I don't know what Matt was doing back there. He was doing like the walk of the moon there. And there's after the game at the bar, Eric Smith and Jack Armstrong. If you're going to do St. Patrick's Day, you might as well be with Jack Armstrong. You'd be doing it right. Eric Smith, good to see him with them. Yeah, the Toronto Tempo on blast. There's some speakers engagement going on with the Toronto Tempo, something there, and more swag. Love to see that. Let's see who else we got on the Instagram stories real quick. Kyle Lowry, this is interesting. Kyle Lowry has a poll up on his Instagram stories. He's wearing a red and black outfit, and he's saying thumbs up or thumbs down. Is this kind of alluding to something we've talked about on this stream recently about Kyle Lowry returning to the Raptors possibly for next season as a third veteran point guard on the Raptors? Because he's wearing our colors and he's asking thumbs up or thumbs down. Is this on the down low a message, Kyle? Are you sending everybody a message? Do you like black and red on me, guys? What are you trying to say here, Kyle Lowry? That's not black and blue. I mean, that's not blue and red like the Sixers colors. That's red and black. And I'm wondering, are you asking us indirectly if you should come back to the Raptors next season? I'm wondering about that. Slim Duck coming in the game last night, showing his phone. Yeah, Chris is something else. I love the little thing in the game last night where they showed the highlights of Brandon Ingram versus Chris Boucher in college in the March Madness, Duke versus Oregon. And I love the story of Chris coming up to Brandon when he came to the Raptors in the trade and saying, oh, you remember me? I beat your ass in the NCAA tournament. That's so crazy. I did not realize that was something from their history. And that's a really big deal right there. In some ways, that's interesting that that's part of their history. I'm sure Brandon smiled and thought it took it really well. But yeah, Chris has that on him, that him and the Oregon Ducks beat the Blue Devils when Brandon Ingram was in that game. So that was very interesting, that story about things last night. I like that. There's your Instagram stories. That's pretty much it right there. Oh, Naco the Nachos tell me what he listened to this week too. Magdalena Bay. Yeah, let's go. Let's see. Fiercely saying, I was responding to someone mentioning KD would be traded, Lex. I won't comment on trade stuff anymore. Oh, I just don't do speculation. You're saying Randall and somebody else for him. It's like, in some ways, it's just a waste of time to me. I'm not trying to say anything personally to you, MJ. It's just my general stance on trade talk is that I don't want to go into who Kevin Durant would be traded for in Timberwolves because I have no idea. And it is what it is. People talk about this too much. It's all good. Love you, Eye Candy. There you go. Seymour, I'm with you on that. I love you, Eye Candy, too. Tristan saying it, Seymour, I don't know what happened last night. Could have been a dream for all I know. Yeah, Tristan continued to watch the games. He was awake during the 9:05 game because I was talking to him, but I don't know what happened afterwards when we went on to watch the Raptors game against the Suns. It could very well be some people were nodding off because the game was just so out of reach and crazy. And at that point, yeah, it really is like that. Let's see. Seymour saying we're all doomed. The leaders of this world are leading us into the fire pits of hell. Well, the thing is going to happen is we're going to have to reject corporatism. Seriously, because it's the root of all evil. The problem is that our politicians and our systems of government are bought for by big corporations and big money people like Elon Musk. And there's no democracy anymore. It's a whole fabrication and a mirage. And well, if the people really want to be more like a freedom and for the people kind of thing, we need to be more like Northern Europe. We need to be more like socialist countries that take care of people with basic necessities. But meanwhile, we have evil people that want to make as much money as possible, that want to commoditize and privatize things like healthcare, things like housing, things like food and water, and even our own freedom, privatize the prisons. And that is immoral. That is not right. In some ways, if you're running our government for a business, you're not running the government for the right thing. Government is for service, for the population. The population pays taxes for services. The money should be going to services and not for tax breaks for billionaires. And that's the biggest scam right now. They want to cut Social Security, which is something that everybody's legally paid into in the United States forever and is a system that works so that they can give more billions of dollars to people like Elon Musk. And it's such a racket. In some ways, it's once again, we have to realize we have the power collectively as the masses. And when we stand up, all this shit is over. And we can go and root out the cancer problems of this society. It's just that we have to be very firm and strong about what our goals are and what we want in the end, and we can make it happen. But there's not going to be a non-violent revolution. There's going to have to be some violence, and there's going to have to be some disobeying the law. There's going to have to be a lot of stuff that you saw in things like the civil rights movement for us to get to the right place. That's why I've been so anti-corporate. That's why I've been so anti-capitalist, because I know the root of all evil in this world and what's driving us to our destruction are the mentalities that come from these things. And in some ways, I hate that the Canadian government and the US government can be bought by corporations. Citizens United is one of the worst things that ever happened in the United States. And it is the main cause of the problem we're in right now. So we got to do what we got to do. And well, it's up to us. It's up to us. If we want to do something, well, we're going to have to do it. And there's a lot of people already motivated and doing something, and we will join them more and more. Trust me, we will. And they're not just here. They're not just in Canada. They're not just in the US. They're all around the world. The whole world is watching. And there are people that want to fight for democracy, freedom, and what is right just as much as we do. And they are on our side also in every single country around this world. Just like there's a Jewish Israeli people that are fighting for the Palestinians, just like there's Russians inside Russia fighting against Putin. There are Americans fighting against Trump. And there are Canadians here fighting against the ultra right-wing, crazy-ass motherfuckers here too with their bullshit. And those are the problems. The enemies are the billionaires, the corporations, and the ultra right fascist, fucking racist-ass, white supremacist, MAGA kind of people. Those are the three enemies right there. Elon Musk, billionaires. Not all the billionaires are awful. Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, they're pretty good billionaires in some ways, but a lot of them are awful, most of them. And then the corporations having too much power in politics and buying all the politicians and all the other stuff. And then, as I said, using the white supremacy and the fear white people have of other people taking over and being the minority. That's part of the issue too. That's part of it right there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's keep going. Let's see. Tristan's saying fight for your right to party. There you go. There you go. All right, Beastie Boys. And Wayne's saying morning, Raptor Freaks. USA does not give aid based on what they extract. The U.S. aid is 0.0001%. War-torn places like Sudan unfortunately need assistance. Yeah. Well, these programs have been very helpful, and they have very much saved lives. They very much have saved lives, and that's part of the problem. You know, you have a certain program that everybody's dependent on, and they're already kind of getting used to. You take it away, people die. And it's not just with this situation with USAID in Africa, but it's also with if they take away Medicaid in the United States, there's going to be old people and poor people that die in the United States. And in some ways, this is the goal of them on the evil scale of things. People like Elon and Donald want a lot of people to die. They're cruel, and they only care about their money. And if the people die in the process, they don't give a shit, especially if they're the people they don't like. See, they're not humanitarians. They're absolute evil right now. I'm telling you right now. Infamous saying, so was AD and Luca opportunists when they got traded by surprise? Laugh out loud. Opportunists? No, I don't think those guys are opportunists. I think they're both victims of the situation. I just think that in some ways it's like, I mean, I get it. If you're a fan of Bradley Beal, Infamous, you're not going to agree with me on Bradley Beal because I think that he's been one of the worst players in the last 15 years in the NBA on the down low. And I think that the dude's great for like making his money, but I think he's been absolute trash. And I would never want him on my team. I've never liked him. I've always thought he was overhyped. And he's just one of these players. I've never understood why they said he was so good. Seriously, that's just how I am about him. I'm not. I don't see him in a good light. Seymour saying so. That's why that Tesla was flying this morning so fast. Like laugh out loud. Lex is the best. Well, I just want to inform you guys and let you guys know certain things just in case. And in some ways, you're not going to get the some of the things that are in the mainstream media right now are not right anymore. Like all the mainstream media is pretty compromised by corporate interests at this point. To get an unfiltered view like mine is rare on a mainstream level right now. And it's very compromised. Like they really are trying to shape us with fear up here in Canada right now in all kinds of weird ways. And that's part of the war. It's a trade war on us. And well, there's an information war where they want to like gaslight and tell us things in the newspapers and in the press, on the TV, online, in places where they might trigger you. And pay attention to this stuff. Be sensitive to news articles or places that you get information from and whether they trigger you in a negative way. That is by design. And understand whether the news is actually like factual also. And also think about it critically about whether, okay, is this telling me in a way that's helpful to me or is this in a hurtful way? Because you can get all the news you need to get in a very plain way that doesn't affect you in such an emotional way. It's a sensationalized mainstream media that will prey on your emotions. And that's part of the warfare. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, you need to be cognizant of this. Yeah. Cool Cat saying oligarchs are controlling the U.S. government. Other countries should look and learn at America being destroyed from within and protect their own country. America's root issues were never addressed. Yeah, it's the money. Anything can be bought in the United States. The buck does not stop anywhere. Elon Musk has bought this election. He's bought Trump being the president. I don't think they truly won. I really do feel like Harris won, but they strong armed their way with misinformation through the mass media and just declared Trump the winner because they knew if she won, we're going to go in a totally different direction, the opposite direction than what they're doing. All the stuff they hate, we're going to do even more, like DEI and woke issues. And this is why they're like coming at this stuff so harsh, because in some ways they're pissed because Biden won for 4 years and did a whole bunch of stuff. And now they see their agenda is tearing all this down, whereas it's actually progress and it's more equality and it's more like being right on the playing field, but they hate that. So they're going to push it all down and they're going to go in the contrast and fight against it and destroy a lot of good programs and things that were already instituted that are helpful to the people and causing more equality, especially in money equality. That's the thing. In some ways, the Democrats, for all their faults, even though they were corporate puppets, they were still looking out for the working class and they were still trying to get more equal fairness with differences in income inequality, and that's why anybody's saying they're just as bad or this, or take the red herrings of like, oh, she supports Israel and I support Palestine, so I should hate Kamala Harris. That's a topic that you shouldn't have been making your decision on the election for, because obviously you see what's happened since the inauguration and how everything's gone downhill so fast. And if you could only a dream of what Kamala Harris being the president right now would be like, it would be so much better. And all these issues that are happening with Canada and the United States would not be happening, guys. That's the other thing. So I said this all last year, and I hate saying that I'm right, but I am right. And I don't know what Tom Duke thinks standing up for billionaires like he did last year and turning his back on me. You're an idiot, Tom. Do you believe me now after you've seen what happened in the last 6 months since the election? Do you believe me now? And how dare you, idiot Tada? You're a traitor to your own country, and you don't deserve the first part of your nickname when you used to be on this channel. Seriously. And God forbid David Saborin come in here trying to defend Elon Musk against me. Oh, like Elon Musk needs you to defend him, David Saborin, who sucks the cock of billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Yeah. So I'm just saying, we need to pay attention to the U.S. In some ways, this is going to hurt Paul Revere a lot because he is the Trump of Canada. And people see how fucking buck wild crazy Donald Trump's going right now. And that will hurt Paul Revere from winning. And God willing, Mark Carney will be the prime minister after a federal election. And we will be stronger and safer here in Canada for it. That's what I'm saying. Tristan's saying, still looking forward to the next Raptors game. Let's go, baby. Yeah, Warriors Thursday. We'll see old Steph and Draymond and Jimmy Butler now. And then on Sunday, it's the Spurs in Toronto on a Sunday afternoon. I'll be going to that game. That's right. Trevor's saying, if y'all believe God like I do, you know the Heavenly Father is coming soon to put a stop to all the world's problems. I hope you're right. And seriously, right now, all the glory to God. Please, please, I'm praying to you every day that you will right the injustices that are transpiring right now by the Trump administration, and you will protect the weak, the poor, the sick, the tired, the old, the disabled, the minorities, the immigrants, everybody who's under fire and in trouble right now. That yes, we got to believe in the right and the just of the Creator and the Lord above, that He created this world to be a good and just place, and that He will purge this world of evil as time goes on. I believe in this too. I have faith, Trevor. But it's like in some ways we got to do our part as citizens of the world. We do, especially here in Canada, to keep our sovereignty. That's right. Wayne's saying aid is leveraged against the needy and underprivileged, and unfortunately, they have little control to be independent. Extraction of those countries' resources is the problem. They get nothing really. Yeah, and that's scary. That's the colonizing way that the continent of Africa has been subjugated to by Europe for the history throughout time. And well, this is what Russia is trying to do to Ukraine right now. And well, unfortunately, this is kind of what the designs of Trump is for us, is to come and get our resources and take over our country, because they want to extract all our resources and enrich themselves from our natural land here in Canada. So this is the part of the fight right now. Wake up to this. Don't get behind on this. Stay up to date. That this is what they're saying. And if Putin wants to go to Ukraine to get minerals there, well, what do you think Trump wants from us? And the action that the Europeans did to Africa is the same damn action that we're talking about right here. So do you want them colonizing us here, the Americans? Because that's the overtures that we're getting from that fucked up fuckface orange piece of shit that is in the presidency right now. Seriously, man. It's really, really messed up, man. Let me keep going. Let's see. Carlos saying this is just a reminder that the freedom and social advancements we have is something you have to constantly fight for. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with this. The US will be a warning to the rest of the world to be vigilant. Well, it's not only here that there's problems. And honestly, in Europe, they're doing a better job. Like in the German election recently, they rejected the people that Elon wanted. And Germany is being very steadfast to this. They know they have a history with Hitler, and they know their history, and they're being very smart. Unfortunately, the United States has a bunch of dumb people that don't know history, and they fell for it. But I still don't totally believe this election was real, that Elon bought the whole thing. But either way, that's the cautionary tales are there. It's just that it's scary when the most powerful country in the world that has the most kind of resources is turning like this from the inside out. That is what's scary. In some ways, Germany does this with Hitler. There's a lot of other countries around them that can kind of get him in check, like Russia, England, and the United States. The US does this kind of shit over here, and we're right next to them. It's scary. And in some ways, it's an alliance of people like Europe altogether, ourselves, and China that will defeat the United States in this case. We don't want World War III. But the way things are going and the way Trump is trying to be a bully, like that whole thing with Zelensky, that's dangerous. He tried to prod Zelensky to antagonize back so that he would have a reason to fuck up Ukraine from the U.S. side. So in some ways, that's a weird bully tactic. It's kind of like, and he's doing it to us too. The way he talked to Doug Ford, and Doug Ford just turned around and kissed his ass and turned the electricity back on. Yeah, see, Doug Ford's a fucking wimp, a pussy. He's not going to stand up to Trump. And in fact, Trump said Doug Ford's a very nice guy. I like him. Yeah, you wanted that guy to be our premier? You idiots. Because that guy is like Trump up here, just like Paulie Bear. So I knew that Ford would win because of gerrymandering and because of a very rigged election system in Ontario. But unfortunately, that's what we get. A guy that's going to talk tough to us about what he's going to do to Trump, but in the back rooms, he's going to let Trump bend over in front of him and start licking his ass. I'm telling you right now, seriously, that's what's up right now, right there, man. Let's see. Smooth saying, Lex, it's stealing from the poor and giving the rich. It's a dark time in the world. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very dark time. Very, very dark time. I'm not disagreeing with you, Reggie, in the least. Carlos saying we had this in the Philippines where we had a strong man named Duarte who killed over 30,000 drug addicts without evidence. Now he's in the ICC for crimes against humanity. And this is where it needs to get to eventually. If the world is just and right, Putin, Netanyahu, and Trump will all be in a tribunal for crimes against humanity at some point. Probably they're all going to die before that happens. But still, this is what's just. These are war criminals, and they deserve to stand trial for their crimes against humanity. That's right. Cool Cat saying history is repeating. If we do not learn from history, it is apt to be repeated. We have to protect our Canadian resources and protect our sovereignty. Elbows up. Exactly. And this is the thing. We're not to be fucked with. I'm going to say that right now, United States. Seriously. Because listen, we're a very big country. Is very proud to be who we are. And we have home turf advantage. And you know what? In War of 1812, y'all came over and saw us, and we sucked your ass out of here. And we even came down there and burned your White House down. Now, it won't be like that exactly. And some of this warfare is through the trades right now. And what the thing is happening right now is this is Putin's playbook. Putin, when he wanted to start shit, would start trade wars with people. And that's the antagonizer bully in him. And that's what he's doing with us right now. Nobody wanted these tariffs. Nobody wanted this trade war. None of the Americans and none of us did. It's all for him. And it enriches the billionaires also. That's part of the racket also, is the tariffs actually enrich the billionaires. So it's another way they steal from all of us. And they hurt all of us at the same time. So understand, trade war is one of the early forms of regular war. And in some ways, that's the danger of this bullshit with what he's fucking doing right now. So I say to all Canadians, continue to buy non-American products. Buy mostly Canadian if you can. And if you have to buy from somewhere else, make sure it's a country other than the United States. And shun all the American brands. Stop going to Wendy's. Stop going to Chick-fil-A. Stop fucking drinking Coke. Stop doing all that shit. You might get healthier, honestly, because most of the shit that comes up here from the United States is garbage food anyway. So start buying from local, not even the corporations. Forget Loblaws even. Go and buy from farmers markets. Go and buy from small supermarkets like Vince's. Go to places and buy gas from Pioneer and Ultramar, completely Canadian. And we will have an impact. And in some ways, so many Canadians are buying unconsciously American products. We don't even realize how much we're spending money that goes to the United States. We start buying only Canadian in other places like Europe and Asia and Mexico. That will help our economy have more jobs. We will actually be booming from this trade war. I'm going to predict this right now. The Canada's economy, if we all as Canadian citizens get together and we do this correctly, I'm doing this when I go to the grocery store. Every single thing I'm buying has nothing to do with America as much as possible. The more we do this, the more the impact will be felt. And the great benefit is we're actually directing money to companies that are here in Canada, and we're going to help our own country with our own economy, with more jobs and booming business for our Canadian companies. And those brands that we were buying unconsciously that were just in our face because America had so much advertising and it's just, oh, it's Coca-Cola. Oh, it's McDonald's. Well, they'll fucking feel it. And all that money and all that stuff that gets spent will go to people that are from our country. And it'll stay in our country and go to our workers and stay in our economy. I'm telling y'all, we can be stronger from this. They're going to say that they're going to hurt our economy, but they fucked up. We actually may get a stronger economy because Canadian people wake up and actually buy more Canadian, and boom, all of a sudden we have more jobs and more businesses making better profits that are Canadian owned here. And that's what I'm saying. You know, you fucked up. You told us you said you're going to do a tariff on us. Well, we've been buying American blindly. Well, now that we pay attention to our spending habits and we cut that out, you're going to feel it down south. You're going to feel it down south. In fact, it's crazy. They showed a picture of Pearson Airport around March break, and it was empty. When is Pearson Airport empty in March break? All the students are going to the United States to go to the beaches in Florida. Nope, not this year. Nobody going down there. People are canceling their trips to the United States because of this bullshit. So right there, money lost, the billions and billions of dollars. You know, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, is an idiot. He's saying, well, we don't really miss the Canadians down here. Bullshit, you are, and you're lying through your teeth.
There are Canadian people that live in the United States and Florida right now selling their houses and putting them on the market and coming back to Canada because of the bullshit that's happening right here. So I'm telling you, the economic impact of Canadians buying Canadian and shunning United States products is going to be felt, whether it's not coming down there for March break, whether it's the border towns of Sarnia and Port Huron, and people are not crossing the border to go eat lunch in America anymore. They're staying on the Canadian side. And a lot of these border towns along the Canadian border are feeling it first. And they're scared and they're pissed at Trump from within inside their own country because their businesses are in trouble because of his poor decision to start a trade war with Canada. And that's just the damn truth right there. That's the damn truth right there. Tristan's saying one last thing. I wanted to clarify yesterday. Battle can definitely play power forward. Just saying I don't think it's his first position. Second, Smalls, shooting, and Biggs rebounding, all fundamental, which you build on. Go Raps. There you go. I like that. Yeah, his Battle can play power forward, but I think you're right. Small forward is his natural position. He can get away with playing shooting guard too. But I think the thing about Battle is he's put more muscle on his body. He's doing more rebounding and blocking shots. So he you know what? We'll see what it is like next year. Maybe he could be more of a respectable four, and we're not going to get in trouble defensively right there. Yeah. Smooth saying no real Republican wanted these tariffs. No, that's the other thing too. Is the crazy thing is, all right, a lot of it's fear. He's trying to make people scared to do anything against him, whether he's intimidating lawyers, he's intimidating other politicians, he's intimidating judges, he's intimidating ordinary citizens. He's using all the old KGB bullshit that Vladimir Putin, in some ways, the whole playbook that Trump's doing is all very Russian. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, there are good Republicans that are standing against him, but there's not enough of them. And there's too many of these idiots that are going along the towing the lines. And we're even seeing Democrats that were corporate puppets all along going right along with Trump's shit right now. And it's very disheartening. Very, very disheartening. James is saying, don't buy no more Teslas. Nope, don't buy them. Burn them down. Seriously, I'm totally for anarchy in some ways. If you see a fucking Tesla out there, fucking destroy it if you want to. I don't give a shit. Go ahead. Fucking set that bitch on fire. Put a fucking swastika on the side of that motherfucker. Vandalize the shit out of it. I don't give a fuck. People need to know this is for real. And that is a symbol of this shit right now. That company and him. The funny thing is that Elon Musk, all of his business world is crumbling down. Tesla stock is fucking imploding. And meanwhile, he's got his stupid ass fucking rocket ships blowing up in the air too. So there's all kinds of things financially for Elon that are going wrong right now. I mean, we could see it from when he took over Twitter. He took a $15 billion company and ran it in the ground to be only a $4 billion company. It has lost money like crazy in the last 2 years since he's owned it. And well, Tesla's fallen down like that too. That's why they're desperate. That's why Trump had to do his little advertisement for Tesla in front of the White House recently. And the thing is, he's getting money directly from the U.S. government now, and Trump's just giving him money. Like, here's $1 billion for your rockets. Here's $1 billion for your Tesla. He's not getting money from his businesses. He gets propped up. He's the biggest fucking welfare queen in the world, fucking Elon Musk. He doesn't make any of his own money. He takes the taxpayers' money through the U.S. government and funds all of his bullshit through the taxpayers' monies. And now he's going to take away Social Security from them to get even more richer. That's the fucked up reality of what these motherfuckers are saying right now. Yeah, Reggie's saying the world agrees how stupid these tariffs are. All economists say it's stupid. It's all stupid, and it's all pretext for bullshit evil that they have in ways that they're thinking right now. Stargate saying the war is psychological war. That's how wars are fought. You have it to be mentally strong and aware. You have to be woke, the original meaning, and not the modern day co-opted use of the term today. Yeah, you have to be aware. You have to be understanding of the systems that are against us and the systems of tyranny and the systems of subjugation and racial discrimination. Yep, that's what the original woke was about right there. That's what it was about. Yeah. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, I laugh that the administration over the border thought being polite meant we are soft. Well, we Canadians come from all over the world. Our patriotism is not to be played with. We are hardy with resolve. That's right. You know, I hate doing it, but I've often gone over scenarios in my head of possibilities of what could happen. And, you know, in some ways, that's how I get contingency plans for my own personal choices. If this happens, what will I do? You know, there's been talk that he wants to annex the Great Lakes in southern Ontario, including all of Toronto and the 13 million people in Ontario. Seriously, I wondered about that realistically. How would that look? First of all, how many of the U.S. soldiers would actually wholeheartedly believe this bullshit and just become full Nazis for him? A lot of them would be like, "You're crazy. These are our friends. They died in Afghanistan with us. They took our planes after 9/11. They've been a good friend. They sent firefighters to our California fires recently." A lot of these people understand who the allies are and who the enemy truly is. And they won't take up arms against us. There may not fight supremacists, not ally idiots. They may actually want to come over here. Well, we got home advantage. And I think it's Toronto's a very interesting city. It's got a lot of enclaves, a lot of different people from all around the world, and a lot of different people. They have people that love them from around the world also. So, you know, they make a move towards us. There's going to be a lot of different countries jumping in to help us out. And it would be really, really weird and crazy. It'd be very, very interesting. I don't want that to ever happen. God forbid that kind of shit happens. But, you know, just in case, we all need to have ideas just in case, contingencies. Because I never, God forbid, any of that happens. We're the true north, strong and free. And we can negotiate in a, hopefully, in a modern society, a more humanistic way to come through conflict than just barbaric warfare. But, you know, just in case, you know, the other thing that people don't realize in the States, yeah, we have good gun control laws, but you may be surprised the percentage of gun owners we have here in Canada, legal gun owners. And these people know how to use their guns. And now where I live right here, I know most of my neighbors around here have arsenals. So you fuck around, you want to find out, elbows up. That's what I would say to that right there. Yeah, that's what I say right there, man. That's what I say right there. That's right. Let's see. Stargate saying the psychological war is on us. The regular people, we are not free thinking. And as soon as we free think, they call us conspiracy theorists and crazy kooks. Well, that's the manipulation of reality and perception and things like that. In some ways, you know, I may be the most unfiltered person you hear talking on these subjects because a lot of people don't want to say some of the things I have to say, and some of them are scared to say them. And, you know, it's like that. Yeah, James, they want to take away Social Security and give all that money in a tax break to the billionaire class. That's serious. And this is money that's already been paid into by everybody's paychecks. They take Social Security out of American workers' paychecks automatically, and they're going to steal it directly. Elon's calling it a Ponzi scheme. He says that it's the most Ponzi scheme. That's bullshit. You're a Ponzi scheme, you piece of shit, South African piece of shit, fat fuck. Yeah, you're a Ponzi scheme. Social Security is a real thing that's actually worked very well. It's one of the most successful programs in the history of the United States, and it's very popular. And, you know, you fucking with Social Security, well, it's going to fuck up y'all in the election if the elections are still free and not bought and paid for. That's the thing. Everything that Trump's doing right now is extremely unpopular, and the midterms hopefully will reflect this. That will be a place where we will see where they are at that point. If they, fuck, I don't even know if we're going to make it through the first 6 months, honestly, of this stupid ass presidency. But when we get to the midterm elections, if there's a strong pushback against the Trump agenda and voters' ways, and we see a very strong tide coming back against him, that will be very promising. But in some ways, I'm jaded at this point, and I understand that the money in politics is buying people elections all over the place, including our Ontario election, honestly. And hopefully it's not so broken that they can try and fix some of it through the legal process of the regular way of voting in office. But I don't have any kind of like faith in that for sure. That in some ways the system's so broken with money that you know, even the right people get in the right positions, it may not happen right. You know, they really did have a plan. The right wingers, the Republicans, Mitch McConnell, and in some ways, Mitch McConnell built this monster, and now he sees what it is, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, what have I done?" And he's actually against Trump at this point. But you motherfucker, you built this, Mitch McConnell, you dumbass piece of shit. You built this fucking situation, you idiot, and destroyed democracy in the United States for fucking power, for the Republican Party, you piece of shit. So you're just as guilty, even if you're turning on him now. This is what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Tristan saying polite doesn't mean soft. That's right. The audio's glitching. YouTube doesn't like people saying that real shit. Maybe that might be it. Yeah, it glitches sometimes. It glitches sometimes. Trevor's saying the Bible says China's going to be the next world order. Well, rightfully so. Listen, I have very good friends that are Chinese. Chinese are misunderstood. And honestly, Chinese people need to rule this world. Well, they should, because they might do a better job than the United States and Americans at this point. Because the Americans have gone all Nazi and shit. That's right. Yeah, America has fallen already, and it's fallen from the inside. And Putin's long term gain of destroying the United States is working now through his Krasnov, his underground, undercover KGB agent. Donald Trump has gotten to the point where he can absolutely destroy the government. And the reason why it's different than the last term when he was president is because there was a House and a Senate that stopped Trump from doing anything in the government, but now they are Republican controlled and everything's controlled, and Trump has a freeway to just drive and do whatever the fuck he wants because there's no resistance in the democracy of the United States from the branches of government at this point. And that's the difference and why it's not like this as it was in 2016. He had his hands tied, and that's why he's so frustrated. He wanted to do all this shit that he's doing now, but the government of the American government was holding up still and stopping him. But at this point, it's fucked up and all messed up. Yeah. Carlos saying, as a naturalized Canadian, I am so very impressed on our collective response. Even the politicians are elbowing up. And in contrast, you see most countries are timid. It's like Trump woke up a giant. Yeah, well, we're not the only ones that are like this. Trust me. There is across Europe also. He's shots fired on them too. And the stuff that's happening with Ukraine really matters to them. The European countries want Ukraine strong and free from Putin because they know the next couple steps are Putin just gets expansionist. So that's the problem. We've got dictator oligarchs that want to expand their territories, and they're madmen, and they're fucked up. And in some ways, they deserve to die, is what I'm saying right now. So yeah, don't get it twisted. The other countries are not wimping out on this either. They're coming up just as strong too, and they are just as organized and pissed off as we are. Trust me. Even people in Australia are crazy, and they're nowhere near any of this, but they understand what's right and wrong. And they are just as pissed off and mobilized against Trump and what he's doing too. Seymour's saying Canada will not be the 51st state, but I can see Alberta selling out. I'm here on the ground, and these people want the money and the right to bear arms. Well, they can bear arms already. I don't understand. Danielle Smith is one of the worst fucking politicians in Canada right now. And honestly, she needs to be voted out by Alberta ASAP. Seriously, because she is a Trump sympathizer. She was there with him after his inauguration. That's all you need to know. Honestly, any Albertan who supports Danielle Smith, you're a fucking traitor, is what I'm going to say right now. You are a traitor, and you need to fucking get your priorities organized. What are your fucking priorities, Alberta? If you're thinking like what Seymour's saying, y'all are fucked up. You are fucked up, and you're not being true to your country, Canada, first. That's the problem right there. Yeah, Slug Deezy saying liberals advocate transgenderism. What's worse? Now, see, that's the other side of the bullshit that they're putting out there right now. Listen, Slug Deezy, I don't know who you are. In some ways, I like you. You did a good job on the classic card, but don't fucking bring this shit in here because that's a red herring, and that is not equal anything. Transgenderism is an issue that's something that's been in this world forever. This is not something new that the liberals just made up recently. There's been transgender people since the beginning of time. It's just that they've been subjugated to very cruel things most of their lives. And that all we're trying to do is give them some sort of self-help and equality as far as stop fucking with them and murdering them. How about that, Slug Deezy? It has nothing to do with trying to make kids transgender and all the horror stories the right-wing propaganda has told you in your brain that you're listening to. It has to do with protecting people that are just human beings that have the right to live their lives and have freedom, whether they're transgender or not. That's so blown out of proportion and bullshit, Slug Deezy. And you're getting a strike for that comment because you are obviously succumbing to right-wing propaganda that is absolute bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. Seymour saying, being from Ontario out west is tough. The people hate us here hard, but the women love us. Seymour, baby, that's funny, man. He's saying, put black still haven't had anything advocated for them. I don't know what you're saying. Put black? I don't know what you're talking about. Conrad Black, fuck you. Why'd you come out of the woodworks all of a sudden? All right, let's do the classic card before I kick Slug Deezy off the channel. Let's see. All right. Okay, yeah, this is a good one. We're getting another pacer, 2 pacers in a row. Let's see. This guy, I remember this guy, but you guys may not remember this guy. And I know who you might say, but you're going to be wrong. There's 2 names you could say that are absolutely wrong. So who knows who this classic Indiana Pacer is? Slug Deezy, maybe get some redemption and get in the classic card. But seriously, man, don't come in here with that bullshit. You know you're not going to be popular here with that kind of shit here. Seriously. And this is a clubhouse. I don't care if people are here or not. I'll kick you out willy nilly. Seriously. It's not Rick. That's right. I know some people would say that's Rick Smits, but that is not Rick Smits. That's exactly right. It's his. There you go. Slug Deezy did get it. It's Greg Dreiling. It was his backup. Yeah, he was a pretty good center, kind of. Not really. But yeah, I remember him. He got to play a lot for the Pacers at that time. So Slug Deezy, I'm gonna give you 200 for that one. That's a 200 card because that is a fairly unknown guy. Greg Dreiling. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking somebody might say Detlef Shrimp, but they didn't. They didn't say Detlef Shrimp. They said the right name. There you go. Rick Smits, Douglas Shrimp. Those are the kind of names you would think. All right, 200 for Slug Deezy on the classic card. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, Smooth, you're right behind him, though. That's right. That's right. It's Greg Dreiling. You got it. You got it. All right, let me do the wrap up. We're at 2:15. We might as well get done here. Seymour saying, what the fuck is Greg Dreiling? This is before 2K and live for sure. Yeah, Greg Dreiling. Yeah, this is 90s, early 90s NBA right here, man. This is early 90s. Let's see if we can see some stats here. See, he played for the Pacers for quite a few years. He was their backup center, 7'1" from Kansas. Jayhawk. That's right. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Once again, the Raptors lost in a rout to the Suns last night by 40 points. It is what it is. We're in that mode. We're tanking. In some ways, this is to be expected. My 3 stars of the game were Orlando Robinson, AJ Lawson, and Colin Castleton. I had to give some shine to them. And then the Raptors 905 won a 1-point victory with Tyler Perry at the line, hitting 5 very important free throws to close out the game to absolutely be essential for them to win. So Tyler Perry's my star of the game. Evan Gilliard the second, is my second star. Quincy Guerriere, third star. Charlie Brown Jr. and Lacey James, my other 2 stars for the game last night. Let's see. Raptors Reddit real quick. Somebody's girlfriend bought them a cameo from Jack Armstrong for their birthday. That's love right there. That's pretty cool. So Jack Armstrong doing a cameo for some dude because his girlfriend bought it for him. That's pretty cool. I like that. What grade would you give year 4 Scotty Barnes is what Reddit's asking right now. You know what, guys? I'm going to say this, and I know I'm biased, but I feel like Scotty Barnes got an A- this year. I think that Scotty got an A-. The only reason why I wouldn't give him a straight up A is because his 3-point shooting declined this year. But otherwise, everything else he did this year was fantastic, especially the developments on the offensive end and the new actions that he's implementing with attacking the rim and the post-up stuff. That I give him an A- personally. That's what I would give Scotty in that. So, yeah, there's our check-in with Raptors Reddit real quick. Let's see if there's any news on Blue Skies at the moment with what is going on right now. Let's see. They got Tom Sterner on the new Smith and Jones. Eric Smith putting that up. So Tom Sterner, former assistant coach for the Raptors, is going to be there. And here, you want to hear more news on what Trump's doing today? Here you go. The Trump administration plans to eliminate the EPA. This is the Environmental Protection Agency, David Saborin. They want to eliminate more than 1,000 chemists, biologists, and other scientists for the scientific research arm of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. So he's cutting more and more green energy stuff. There was a whole program that Biden set up for changing into renewables and solar energy, and he cut all that shit. He cut all that shit because he doesn't give a shit about the environment and the planet, and he's going to open up drill, baby, drill, and he's going to go back to coal and all kinds of other shit because he doesn't give a fuck. He thinks that the climate change is fake, whereas he's an idiot like that. All right. Anyway, there's a little news there from Blue Skies on that. Let's see. What else do we have? We have a birthday. Happy birthday to CJ Kilometers. That's right. CJ Miles is having his birthday today. And today, CJ is 38. So happy 38th birthday, CJ Miles. Y'all play your fantasy teams if you got your fantasy basketball team in the Raptor Freak Fantasy League. So get that ready. All right, y'all. Let me get out of here. Thanks for watching me. Maybe a little real today, talking about some heavy shit, but it's stuff that we need to be on the same page about and informed about. And in some ways, they're not going to inform us correctly. Seriously. So, yes, Wayne's saying A-. Yeah, I'd say about an A-. I wouldn't give him less than an A. I feel like he's done an A job, but I can't say that he's done an exceptionally better job other than, I think he has done an exceptional job on defense and the new offensive stuff, but the 3-point shooting decline is part of the only reason why I would give him an A minus. And I think Scotty would be fair about that. If he heard my assessment, he'd be like, "Oh, you gave me A minus? Well, you shoot your threes better, you got an A. And if you go even above and beyond, you're A plus, my guy." There you go. All right, thanks for watching me, y'all. Even though, all right, listen, once again, the opinions and views that are expressed by me, the Raptors freak, do not necessarily reflect the opinions and views of the Toronto Raptors, Masai Ujiri, Darko Rajakovic, Scotty Barnes, or anything to do with the Raptors. This is purely from me. But I tell you, I am a fountain of real, true, unfiltered information that is not coming from a place of anything other than I care about this world, and I care about justice and equality and the rights of people and freedom. And there's no corporate interest in what I'm saying. There's no tainting of what I'm saying because of anything. In fact, I'm being very brave and I'm not being afraid, and I will speak out. So I know that not all y'all are going to agree with what I'm saying, and some of y'all may be actually part of the problem, apparently. And that disheartens me. But I know most of y'all have your heart in the right place like I do, and you're going to join the resistance with me. And we're going to get this all straightened out and figured out over the years to come. It's unfortunate that we got to this point and that it's got to be like this. But when this kind of shit happens, that's when good people need to stand up and do something about it. That's what I'm saying right now. All right, y'all. I love you guys. And I'll be back tomorrow for a special Wow Wednesday with a focus on the Toronto Tempo. That's right. We're going to be having a more Toronto Tempo focused stream tomorrow, guys. So I love you guys. Stay strong, Canada. Elbows up for damn sure. And remember, buy Canadian as much as possible. And look at your spending habits and see where you're spending money. Is that money going to an American corporation? Well, stop that shit right now and find the equivalent of what you can get for what you want from somewhere else. I buy San Pellegrino juices. They're from Italy. I buy some candy from Ukraine. It supports Ukraine. I buy some salsa chips instead of from Tostitos. I buy them directly from Mexican company. That's what you got to do, man. Just make sure you're spending your money smart, because this is a huge way that all of us collectively, if we're all on the same page doing it together, we can have a huge impact economically and show them, you fuck around, you will find out. That's what I'm saying right there. True North, strong and free always. I love you, Canada. I love you, Raptor freaks. And I'll be back tomorrow. Wow Wednesday. Let's go. Let's go, Raptors. Every single day. Let's go, baby. Let's go, Tempo. Let's go, 905.